Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
4 rounds across the last 5 months have led us to this moment as Premier Endurance League returns for the final round of Season 7 of the Dash Offroad GT3 Limited Series. We're live on the Premier Endurance League channel with broadcasting brought to you by Infinity Broadcasting here this evening. Hamish Ronner here with you alongside Jake Sperry as we prepare ourselves for the run tonight. We arrive in Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the final round of the season. Jake, it's great to be here with you once again. It was a wet and wild race last time out at Le Mans for the second to last round of the season. We come into the final race of the season with a bit of a shake-up as the championship leader is not racing this evening.
No, and that has really put this championship wide open, and what it will now mean is it's a case for Daniel McCrowan, his championship to lose. He's only got to score 49 championship points to secure the title, and if Kane Ryder ends up not racing, which he isn't, it will then mean that you go down to third place in the championship into what looks like here for Owen Coleman a must-win race tonight on 805 points compared to those around. So Kane Ryder probably still second favourite to win the title despite not being here, but it's going to be interesting. Arguably, I'd say, one of the great all-around circuits. Any racing here works a dream.
It does indeed. I mean, you bring any cars here, any sort of combination of multi-class racing or single classification racing as well, and it often comes out in a beautiful art form of driving. Of course, it's most well known for both sports car and Formula One racing as well, obviously here at Spa, but there's other types of racing that come here too, and every time it does, it offers up some fantastic racing action. The rest of the field for the elite class at this stage of the championship: Jesse Butler sits P4 ahead of Kurt Chapman, Greg Barber, Daniel Piper, Nathan Hodges, Stephen Tonkin, and Scott Rankin makes up the top 10 in that title race at the moment as well. Moving across to the Challenger class running here, Peter Baxter leads that race. He just needs a solid finish tonight. I mean, he sits currently 56 points ahead of Gavin Simpson in P2. I spoke to Pete pre-race. He knows what he has to do tonight. He just needs to get himself a solid finish, good points on the board through qualifying, and then solidify a good race performance as well to win himself that championship. Ben Wilkes, Ben Brook, Daniel Fritz makes up the top 5 in that Challenger class as well. We'll have a quick look to Weber Racing here this evening, of course, Jake, as we come out to Circuit Spa-Francorchamps for the final round of the season. You mentioned it, I mean, it's one of the crown jewels of not only Grand Prix racing, but even sports car racing as well. Home of the Spa 24-hour, which often offers up some fantastic moments. There's been a little bit of rain pre-session here tonight, so there is some wet moments or some wet pieces of circuit on the inner part of some corners, especially the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But we are running that endurance layout tonight, so starting it all out just before Eau Rouge and Radillion. That is going to offer up some big challenges to these drivers.
Yep, and of course this circuit is 7 kilometres and 4 metres in terms of its length and distance, and is one that offers great overtaking opportunities. Lay Coombe up the top of the Kemmel Straight. You've got the chance to go and get it done into that final chicane as well, and there is always a place like Fania, for example, where you've got a chance to lunge and go and get an overtaking opportunity sorted. One thing though is going to be very clear: this is one of the great all-round circuits, and in terms of its area and region in Spa, if you go up to the town of Stavelot, you will find a statue on the outskirts to the Hannibal, Eddie Merckx, arguably the greatest cyclist that ever lived, as it's very important to talk about this place on the road path of Liège-Bastogne-Liège, the great cycling classic out there, which has been a massive factor in terms of cycling trilogy. Worth talking about, because we're about a week away from the Tour de France, Hamish.
That's right, we are indeed. Not that I've ever followed the Tour de France myself, Jake, but I know that it gets the eyes of the world on it. Obviously, it's a worldwide known cyclist race, but also event as well. And what an event it is right now. I mean, the World Cup's on at the moment. We've got the Tour de France starting soon as well. And world sport is really in a boom period right now for this period of the year. We're getting into the midway point of the Formula One season as well. IMSA and WEC, they're firing out strong too. So if you're a sport or a motorsports fan, there's no better time to be a fan right now. Drivers, of course, they'll have to be careful, obviously, of Eau Rouge Radillion tonight, Blanchimont as well. Even through Campus and Stavelot, there's multiple places around this place the drivers are going to have to be cautious of, and they're all going to have to take their time to manage it as best they can. This layout was changed back in 2007, made some adjustments to it. It's been, well, this layout ever since, but they have made a couple of environment changes, I suppose we could say. They've repurchased some parts of Radillion and Eau Rouge to make it a little bit safer for drivers at such high speeds through there. And you know, the first challenge they're going to have is at La Source at turn 1, where we could see some early dramas. It's very easy. We could get 3 or even 4 safety cars around this place. It could even happen that we only get 1 or 0, because just depending on how, you know, fast these cars want to push, how fast these drivers want to push, and how hard they want to push as well, that's going to be a big test. 19 turns tonight for clockwise direction, of course. Pit lane entry is not going to be too bad. Pit lane exit, though, well, that's going to be an interesting one, because it is the endurance layout. We come out at the end of turn 4 off the back of Radillion. It's a long pit lane. It's a slow pit lane. You've got to plan your pit stops accordingly. As qualifying's done and dusted, we've gotten into the warm-up session for the moment here. And, well, it's going to be an exciting race tonight, Jake. I think we can both agree. I think this is a track that a lot of race fans are big fans of, obviously. And have you ever seen a boring race at Spa, aside from the COVID era where they had to red flag the whole race because of rain in Formula One? I mean, other than that...
That wasn't boring.
Yeah,
that wasn't boring. Nikita Mazepin had a fastest lap.
That's true. That's very true. And that is on his CV as a race driver, of course. But, you know, it's going to be a fun time throughout this race. But, yeah, I cannot remember a boring race to ever happen here at Spa. There's always something that's happened that's made it exciting.
Well, I'll tell you what will make it exciting is the fact that before this session came up, it bucketed down with rain, and there are still puddles on the outside of this circuit for a track that is not labelled as dry at the moment here, Hamish. It is labelled as mostly dry, and that is a very correct statement, but on the parts of the circuit on the outside where there is still a little bit of runoff that is wet, you can still see it here on some of the outsides here of Blanchimont. If you go too far, you'll catch a puddle. They are going to be running at 100% as if this is a dry circuit, but they are going to be very scared to touch the extremities of this track for fear of the car slipping around. And in a category like this, you need a lot of confidence underneath you, and it's just going to add that little layer of anxiety.
It will indeed. You know, a lot of the key passing areas have got a lot of that water really hindering your passing opportunities. The inside up here at Lake Com, through both parts of the chicane, there's a little pool of water. You can kind of see it just there off this TV cam. Both parts of it, though, have got a little pool of water, even on the exit as well. Through here is a little bit of pooling water. So there are key passing zones where drivers are going to be affected by it tonight. There's going to be other parts of the track where they may have to decide they're going to be creative with their passing opportunities and try and create a move for themselves. I think as the race goes on, we'll obviously get a much better understanding of where they can pass and where they can't pass. Obviously, though, as the race goes on too, that water will dissipate out a little bit, creating more opportunities for drivers. I think if we are going to see safety cars, we're going to see them early, because we're going to see some, you know, quote-unquote ballsy moves of drivers trying to go for a move where there's a puddle, and the puddle's going to decide to spit them out the other side and possibly take 5 other cars with them.
It's about how aggro you want to be early on, and you know, Mark Scaife always said you've got to buy a ticket to the end of the race. And endurance-style racing, absolutely no point ruining it in the opening 5 minutes. But the caveat to it, you do get involved in something early, Hamish. One fast repair, and we saw that with Peter Baxter last time out at Le Mans. Used that fast repair, got back into position, still has a 50-plus point lead in the Challenger Championship.
And that's how important it is. You know, you've got to be able to keep it in your back pocket, but use it to, you know, your best opportunity as well. Yes, there is some luck involved in when you use your fast repair and when you keep yourself in line and in check, but one of those difficulties tonight is your hand may be forced. You may be forced to use your fast repair early in this race. And then you may get to later in the race and all of a sudden you need another one, and you don't have enough time to get the car fixed up and get back into a positive position. So I think knowing if you need to use it early, that's going to put you on the back foot early, because you're not going to be as willing to push the car, knowing that one mistake and you're in the wall and you're out of this race. So we may see some drivers making those aggressive moves early. They may get caught out and have to use their fast repair, and all of a sudden their driving style will change. There may be others who take it cautious early on and then go hard at the end, knowing they have the fast repair as a slight safety net. But this is going to come down to the driver themselves. There obviously will be some issues with some cars that will make it a lot harder for them to do that, namely the Lamborghini, as we've seen over the last 3 rounds. It is becoming a very difficult car to drive at this stage of its balance of performance, but you know, I think that for the majority of this field, they shouldn't be taking it too aggressive too early as we prep ourselves for the race start. And the very large starting grid for this evening's race. Owen Coleman will start pole position alongside Daniel McCrowan. The championship battle will be contested off of the front row, but Coleman needs McCrowan down the order tonight. He needs him P40 or below to even have a shout at winning the championship. To row 2 and behind them, we'll find Matt Webber and John Trott for our top 4 cars. To row 3, we'll find Jesse Butler, Jack Vlahovic in his debut here this evening, starting out of P6. Row 4, we'll then find ourselves to Nathan Hodges and Rue Koistra starting alongside each other. Great qualifying for Rue to get up into the top 10. See if he can take advantage of that on board his Ferrari. To the top 10, we will find ourselves with Greg Barber and Matt Schmidtke. And for row 6, Jake, it's looking pretty spicy.
It is. I will note 7,000ths of a second splitting Coleman and McCrowan in qualifying. Next to nothing around this place. Kurt Chapman in the Porsche, the McLaren of Nick Wood. Then the Kiwi going out there as Vinny Wynn in 13th, has Patrick Reardon for company on that 7th row. 15th and 16th belongs to Daniel Piper and the Corvette of Benjamin Johnson, as then Stephen Tonkin and Andrew Neal will house row number 9. Your top 20 rounded out by Scott Rankin, who's been going through a pretty tough couple of weeks or so, and Peter Baxter, then your Challenger Championship leader and qualifying leader.
He's done well to get himself inside the top 10. Those friends will start alongside each other. Row 11, we find Wade Reynolds and Trent Stapleton starting inside of the top 22. To row 12, we find Richard Mayer and Martin Lofthouse for the top 24 as well. Row 13, we get to Leith McClellan and Chris Ruddle starting alongside each other. Row 14, it'll be Greg Heaney and Benjamin Brook. And to row 15 in the top 30, it'll be Ben Wilkes and Brendan Purcell.
Brian Bell will go from 31st. All Mustangs as Martin Hallinan is alongside. It then follows with Fritz and Foster. Daniel Fritz in a Beamer, Mark Foster in an AMG Mercedes. It's then Dale Atkins in the Acura and Glenn Krellin in the Hungry Jacks car in P36, with the last 2 times set being Jason Adams and Stefan Mellis on home soil, which means 39th and 40th by iRacing, Rick Provenzale and Luke King.
Indeed. Only a few more cars behind them, including Gavin Simpson and Sean Benici, the American, out of P42. And to the top 44, it'll be Luke Capozza and Brant Tucker starting alongside each other, as well as I believe Rafael Custodio and Tristan McLaren didn't set times in qualifying, but they have started the race. McClement and Mellis have not started, so Mellis has not started his home race here this season out at Spa. I think he's starting from pit lane, so he wants to try and stay out of it early. How well can we go here as 2 hours on the clock? Green flag will get us underway here at Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Around turn 1, of course, being that it is the endurance layout. So we will start from the other side of turn 1. That is going to put some pressure on them, because all of a sudden they're going to have to go full force, 2 wide, up through Eau Rouge, in through Radillion, down the Kemmel Straight. Can they hold it together? Can they keep it clean? Pressure's been built to this point of the season. It's Owen Coleman versus Daniel McCrowan for the championship. Kane Ryder is out due to injury. Green flag here at Spa. And 3 wide as John Trott already trying to go for it up towards Eau Rouge. Gets past McCrowan. And it's side-by-side action up the hill for the first time. McCrowan makes contact with Matt Webber. McCrowan is off the road. The championship leader is off. And that is huge, huge damage. A massive moment to start out this race with a championship. And Owen Coleman, Jake, will be laughing right now, because that is a car park up at Radillion.
It's happened immediately and almost somewhat quite predictably here at Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. If ever you see a big incident, it's normally at Eau Rouge and Radillion. A safety car undoubtedly has been called, as there is next to no room. McCrowan just got nowhere off of the start. Webber on the inside curve, trying to cut the line as fine as possible, was Daniel McCrowan. And ultimately, that is as lap one gets around this place. He will have a fast repair. He'll know he'll have nothing left for it. But look at the jump. Lovely stuff there from the second row from John Trott. He just absolutely monstered that. And then McCrowan working through up the hill, tries to leave room, a little bit of A, a little bit of B, being on the inside grass. And then he just gets to deposit it to the outside. And from there, well, it's a slideshow.
It really is. It's an unbelievable slideshow from the moment happening down there as well. I want to try and find one of the cars that was behind them. Let's try and find them, because this might be a tough ask for us. I believe Nathan Hodges was one of them, and so was Jesse Butler. So this will actually give us a good bird's eye view on board with Butler up the hill. So now one of the other Porsches of Kurt Chapman, I believe, to his outside. So they come up the hill. McCrowan goes off, and he just splits the gap like Moses straight through and continues on. But a big moment early in this race, Jake, and a big moment for those drivers, including Daniel McCrowan, the championship leader, who's had to tow back to pit lane. This will put him a lap down on Owen Coleman. If Coleman can stay clean and McCrowan can't make any gains, all of a sudden, it's a whole new championship picture that's been painted for us.
But here's the thing, even if you're a lap down, how many other cars are going to be a lap down with you? Koistra in the pits, Nick Wood, Trent Stapleton. That's 3 cars that I'm keeping an eye out on that are down there in the pits. And you've got to figure out who's actually started this race or not. We talk about top 40 being the difference maker to getting yourself this championship or not. And I think this is going to be a waiting game of everybody over the line to see where everyone now stacks out as they go around. So I'm keeping a focus here. We've had 25 cars past the finish line at this moment, and I would be keeping a very close eye on who's going through and who's been able to drive it round, limp it round. Simpson, one of them, and Wade Reynolds, the other. If I was, you know, in a position of, you know, where you are in the championship, I would do everything in my known power, Hamish, to limp it round, even if I lose half a lap, take the fast repair and maybe lose the lap, to try and give myself as much chance as possible of staying on the leading lap. The fact that the tow has been taken was an indication that that car was undrivable back.
Yeah, well, I mean, for McCrowan's case, full rear end contact in the wall and then collided with multiple cars. Very easily that, you know, a rear end wishbone could be disconnected, the car has no drive, engine could have been blown as well, being that it is a mid-engine car, that Corvette. So quite a few cars obviously have been caught up in that. The probably best case scenario for those two championship contenders, Nolan Coleman and Peter Baxter, for their respective classes, they came out of it unscathed. Baxter's all the way up to P11 now, with quite a few positions between himself and championship contender Gavin Simpson, who's back in P32. So there's a good amount of gap between them, and of course the what could be championship winning gap from Owen Coleman back to Daniel McCrowan. Huge moment. Kane right in the chat saying there is a drop round, I'm pretty sure. Yes, there is. I don't believe, though, I'd have to ask Mr. Provenzali for confirmation. I don't know if the last round is droppable. If it was, then that means Kane Ryder could obviously still win the championship as well. But we'd have to get confirmation from Mr. Provenzali. It's actually a question I forgot to ask you about, Jake. So my problem of scrambling today of figuring things out. So it all just compounds apparently. But I mean, Owen Coleman right now sits in a championship winning position. He's got John Trott on his tail, Jesse Butler, Nathan Hodges. We know that Coleman has the pace. He qualified on pole. If he can maintain that pace throughout the race, there's nothing that tells me that he should be able to get surpassed by Trott or Butler in contention for this race win.
Yeah, so I would be looking around and saying who is going to be a big benefactor out of this, and I'm turning around and saying, well, who are the big gainers out of that opening lap incident? Richard Mayer up 14, Ryan Bell up 20. Those are the big ones in and around the top 10 have jumped up. Kurt Chapman's got 6, Benjamin Johnson's got 10. That was just a start where you just got to be right place, right time.
Yeah, and if they're going to go single file restart here, which they should be, because if you've just seen how a 2-wide start goes, probably the smarter choice is do a single file. We shouldn't get a repeat of what we just had, but there is also then the little thing that tickles the back of your brain and says, well, someone could easily try and go for the move off the restart, and then all hell breaks loose once again up through Radillion, and we get another 10 cars that have to go through pit lane. But I mean, looking at that, we have had about 10 cars, or no, more than that, about 18 cars have had to pit off the back of that moment, Jake. That's a very significant moment in this race. It's given half the field pretty much a fantastic advantage now because they've been handed positions like it's Christmas presents. And arguably, a lot of them will be laughing about the fact that they have just gone for free, and the other half of the field's going to be a bit disappointed and a bit frustrated that they've been caught up in that. And I think no one's more disappointed or frustrated than Daniel McCrowan, because he's been caught up in that moment when he wants to fight for the championship, and now he has a literal Mount Everest level climb to try and get back up to Owen Coleman to try and challenge for the championship once again.
He does. He knows that it's going to be a long old haul. He is back out on circuit and critically behind Vinny Wynn, so I would put him then in that response in P39 as he is out on circuit. No, P40 exactly. So we talk about what drivers need. Well, he'll love to climb up the order, get himself back into position for it, but I am going to be very intrigued to see how this is going to line up and how the charge up through the order and battling with drivers that you wouldn't necessarily battle with now befalls a driver of his caliber.
Well, so interestingly enough, so because he actually towed, it was classifying him a lap down before the tow was completed. Now the tow's been completed and he's actually exited pit lane. He technically did finish lap 1, so he's actually on the lead lap. So it's not as big of a loss as what we may have initially anticipated, Jake. So because he still has remained on the lead lap, he's not going to have as much of a task ahead of him. The task being he has to gain only a few positions and he's back in the championship position. But he's on the lead lap and he's within 39 positions of the race lead. The difficulty that's going to come for that for Daniel is now that he is at the back of the field and he's behind the mid-pack, if something happens off this restart or within these first few green flag laps, he is going to have barely any margin for reaction and barely any margin of avoidance, and that could catch him out again, and all of a sudden his race is done because he's already used his fast repair. That is now the task on board Daniel McCrowan's car. Honestly, it may just be a smart choice when we go green to come in pit lane, put fuel in it, and then come out well behind the field. That may be the best choice scenario for Daniel McCrowan right now, just to keep that car clean and keep it out of the way of trouble. So, it's now a case of two different styles of races to watch, the one at the top and the one at the bottom. And it is also worth noting that through all of that drama, Peter Baxter got through it unscathed, so didn't have to worry at all about things in 11th. But directly behind him, though, is Chris Ruddle and Daniel Fritz. So as far as the lead goes, Challenger now is going to be in a direct scrap out there over the course of action. And it will also mean that with today's running here under safety car, it will take a lot of time off the clock already, nearing 10 minutes of these 2 hours already off of the back. So one thing I know as well is from my quick chat with Pete was he's getting about 35 minutes of fuel out of his car, and he stated that the final run home, of course, was going to be a slightly better run because it's a much shorter splash. Now, it's going to take us more than one safety car to make this race a two-stop affair. And in fact, actually, I'm noticing here, Daniel McCrowan's actually gaining more spots. So he's actually up and around there. Wait, why is he getting waved around?
Is he getting a wave around?
He is. He's on the lead lap.
Yeah, they are going to have to correct that because he is on the lead lap here. So they will just have to put that back together again and say, look, these drivers are not a lap down. Race control has to get alert to it and put them back to the positions that they were.
Yeah, we might just have to put a message out and just say that he's actually on the lead lap. Because, yeah, if he gets given a wave around, then all of a sudden
he is pulling over to the side to go back to position there.
Yeah, I think they've realised that he's on the lead lap. Very good. But I think that comes down to some of the timing glitches you can get, especially when someone tows and it automatically puts them a lap down, and all of a sudden, oh, actually, no, he's not. He's still on the lead lap. We've already got a heap of chats out there tonight. Shares out there giving love to Root Boystra. Unfortunately, a share. Trent Mayer's in there as well. Katie Ryan's with us, of course. Revolutionary Racing and Isaac Curtis, last season's champions, out there with us as well. So great to have you all watching along with us. This is really making it confusing for the back end of the field here, Jake, because of McCrowan's false wave around. So he has actually now been situated back in the field. It feels like perfect conditions today, though. 26 degrees track temp, 20 degrees ambient. It should be a case of fast laps, fast cars, keep it clean, keep it mean, and hopefully get a good green run out of it as well. But yeah, we look forward to what's to come throughout the rest of this race. Of course, the pace car, I believe, should be coming in at the end of this lap because those wave rounds have been completed, although cars have been coming into pit lane to offset themselves a little bit here. Ben Brook, Greg Barber, Gavin Simpson, Nick Wood, Matt Schmidtke, Scott Rankin have all come into pit lane just to put a bit of extra fuel in. I don't mind the strategy since they've already had an incident tonight. They've had to reset themselves already. This is going to offset them slightly here, Jake, and maybe them a little bit of an advantage later in this race.
Because they do have to make those pit stops. They do have to look around and say, right, what are we dealing with in terms of our cars out there? It is not as simple as this race works for you on a simple level. 65% of a fuel tank is what you have to work with. Any chance, if you're nearer the back of the field, to put yourself back in with a little bit more fuel, extend out longer, helps you with a shorter final stop, so you can go to maybe 3 stops in the race a lot easier than the 2 that you would normally have otherwise. So I would be keeping a close eye on that, going, yeah, I'll lose the track position now, but I'll have a much easier pit stop at the end of the race where I'll gain that time back.
That's right. And, you know, with regular 35-minute stints, that takes them out to about 70 minutes. They're about 50 minutes short, so any fuel saving they can get is going to help them, but also as well, any little bit of fuel they can get under these safety car periods, that's going to help them as well. So it's not going to offset them enough that they're only going to need one more stop to get home. We're nowhere near close enough for that to happen, but a few more safety cars, a little bit more time lost, they could be on the bubble for doing this on one more stop. So, but they've got to get to, crucially, they've probably got to get to about the hour and 10 marker before we could say, yes, that's the time you could pit and get home if your fuel saved enough. But at this stage, it's too hard to tell at this point, I think. But we'll see what happens off the restart. It almost felt like a little bit of a like a false achievement when we got to the race start, Jake. It kind of took all the energy out of it, because it's like, well, we're getting ready for this race, getting ready to go green, and then as soon as we come through Radillion, it's all over, and it's safety car out there once more. So it kind of draws back the energy just a little bit. But I'm sure the drivers will be antsy. This may play a little bit of mentality with them as well, because they've prepped themselves for a race start. They haven't gotten the race start that they wanted because of the false start that we had. How might this now affect them coming up to this restart zone? Will it then play a factor on their mind, or do we think they could just restart very quickly and get themselves back in the zone?
I think it depends on what type of driver you are. If you are a driver who has a big amount of understanding of it and going, right, this is how many points I can potentially get, this is how many places I can jump up, I'm going to be very happy. If you're turning around and saying, look, I think this is going to be a very tough race and I really wanted to get a few laps down in on the board, it's going to be a lot more difficult than what you've seen in previous seasons. So I look forward to seeing how strong of a battle that we are going to have, and I am looking forward to the way that this championship now is going to lay itself as far as the long and short goes. And I am pretty sure that this restart here for Owen Coleman is a chance that he would want to leapfrog away as simply as possible, as they are locked to 80 kilometers an hour before this restart.
Are indeed nose to tail for the restart, of course. They should be getting themselves ready for their first green flag run at the first 7 kilometers that they would run at full pace here this evening as well. They'll have to roll around all the way through turn 1 and up towards the endurance start finish line, of course. And that can make it difficult for them just to hold position, being that it is such a long run to the start finish line and to what is the classified restart area for them. We may see Coleman go off the exit of the first turn, just to try and build a little bit of gap up towards Eau Rouge, or he may hold them to the start-finish line. As we get ourselves prepped and ready, when will he go green? Here out at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, as it is now. He's holding them all the way. He's holding them all the way. Green flag at the start-finish line. Smart move to hold them all the way there. Stops the run, and it means that he knows when he can put the power down. He can build a nice gap and runs up through Eau Rouge and Radillion for the first time. Down the Kemmel Straight they go. Can the rest of the field make it through as well? As they start to put the temperature back in the tyres that was lost under the safety car. And in towards the chicane for the first time as well. You see Trott putting the pressure now on Coleman for this race lead. Butler in behind. They've broken away now from Hodges further back, as you can see the scramble of cars further down the order. Just all of them trying to pick up the pieces on any little positions that they can get. They've got to be careful of those puddles down there, Jake, that we spoke about. But right now, it's a nice and tidy restart, and I think that was probably helped by the fact that we were single file. And then, Coleman! Hold them all the way as Trott's got into the wall at No Name. And I think it was Kurt Chapman he caught out there.
Yeah, so Chapman's a bystander. John Trott's just dropped it in all on his own, dived it down in through, and has just lopped it on, and then immediately two into him as he walked through. One was Nathan Hodges, the other was Kurt Chapman. There's more spinners then over through Double Ghost. That's Peter Baxter, who's leader in the Challenger Championship, running into troubles. And this restart, tyres are cold, and they are getting a lot of understandable nerves here at a championship finale.
They are indeed, and that is a huge moment in terms of that Challenger Championship. A simple mistake for John Trott has possibly been a little bit of a domino effect to what has happened to Peter Baxter. We'll try and look back at this to see what happened for John down here. So on the inside, goes for an outside line, loses the rear, smack bang in the wall into both Chapman and I believe that Merc was Richard Mayer. It was. How does Pete Baxter end up off the road though?
Because look, they're going to be side by side here, and there was, we just missed it. It's on contact, then going through, trying to avoid the car on the inside that's damaged. And ultimately, when you try and unload through this section, look, he can't turn, so he's tried to avoid the contact, and then the rear has unloaded because he's straightened out the steering, has tried to reapply a lot of lock through the corner, Hamish, and that's why he's gone around into the gravel.
Yeah, that's right. And that was actually Chris Ruddle who was involved in that incident with Trott. So it was actually teammate on teammate contact. There was this moment as well for Greg Barber. A bit of rear end contact in behind him as well. That just pushed him along and then spun him round off the final corner. So not the way that he wanted his race to get going, as Ben Wilkes is now off the road at the exit of Radillion as well. So more and more dramas up here at the top of the hill. Oh, that is certainly a rejoin, Ben. That is certainly a rejoin. He was very lucky that Mr. Rankin was on it to try and avoid. This is what happened to him, though, up at Radillion.
Oh, gets tagged.
Oh, yeah.
Can't get out of the throttle, and then everyone else just runs through and pretends he doesn't exist there. Going over and just saying, look, we're going to drive on through. And really, it's a nasty situation for a driver to be stuck on the top there of Radillion, because it is completely blind as you come up over the crest, and drivers have limited time to register that there is a car parked there. There often is, and it does make life very, very difficult. Webber as well has put the car over to one side, but through Fania, we come along here with this group now for third, as this is Webber going slow. I think he's tangled with Nick Wood out there, which is why he's in a world of hurt, out of last source.
Yeah, I think he has. Oh, my God. Okay, we're gonna have to pull the old sneaky reverse here just to see what has occurred here. Also, Koistra's doored Wood into the side of him, and Webber's gone off the road, and then he's just driven straight into the McLaren. That's a very...
And then McLaren's gone back at him,
yeah,
and has completely damaged the front right suspension.
Yeah, very odd, very, very odd for that to happen off of turn one. But yeah, a lot has happened now off only the first few green flag laps. Not only the first lap where we immediately went to safety car, But then off the safety car restart as well, it has been absolute chaos here. There's been a nice little spread though for the front runners. Coleman's now got a nice 1 second gap ahead of Jesse Butler, and then it's a further 5.5 seconds back to Daniel Piper in P3 with Ben Johnson on his heels, putting the pressure on him. Up the hill they run, and though Piper's having some blinking issues here, so we might just run on board with Ben, just in case Daniel decides to blink at the wrong moment. But pressure upon pressure. This is what builds up a championship. This is what makes you a champion. You've got to be able to survive the pressure. And to give the update on the championship battle, Daniel McCrowan is back in a championship winning position. He's in the top 20.
But that's assuming that there is no drop round available. And I took a look at last season's standings, Hamish, and there was a drop round, but I don't know whether, because we've got one less round in the championship, that we still have a drop round or not. I've looked through every single channel in this Discord, have not been able to find a conclusive rulebook out there. Source, trust me, bro.
One of my favourite sources. It's a great one, but I mean, I suppose we're not going to 100% locked in know who the champion is unless we see it on track. So unless we see Daniel McCrowan beat Coleman or we see him in the top 5, we can't confidently say that he is the champion until we get confirmation of such. Then that also points out, well, what about Kane Ryder? If there is a drop round available, where does that put him? He'll obviously finish on his 1,100 points tally that he's already got for himself. What does that mean for McCrowan? How much does he have to gain on him? And if he has a worse round than any of his others, does that then mean that McCrowan can't win the championship? Because all of a sudden Kane Ryder does, and it becomes a lot more messy and a lot more difficult to calculate.
Give me 5 minutes and I'll work it out for you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, but I mean, what a race it has been. I mean, we're on to lap 7 and it's 23 minutes into this thing. I mean, it's taken us 23 minutes to get to now lap 8 as the race leader, Owen Coleman, crosses the line. In a hot battle here between Hallen and McLaren. Provenzali is up within the top 11 cars here. He didn't think he was going to run out the whole race. I think if he remains in the top, if he gets in the top 10 and remains there, Jake, he may very well just decide, well, I might as well stay on track. I'm in the top 10. But he's under pressure right now from Wood Kapotza. It's to find a move around the outside, down at turn 1. He sees all too wide for McLaren and Hallen, and who's going to get out the other side as the benefactor as they look to begin lap 8 of their race. Which they have already, actually. So, funnily enough, the finish line is being classified as the Grand Prix start-finish line. And our start line tonight, of course, was the endurance start line. So they actually don't have to go as far to get to the finish of the race. The finish of the race will be classified at the Grand Prix start-finish line. So Owen Coleman will be able to save himself a couple of 100 metres in that approach. But battle packs have spread out a little bit here, Jake, but this one just inside the back end of the top 10 is really heating up as Provenzali and Kapotza continue to go side by side. Provenzali needs to make sure he doesn't get doored out here as he drops back in P12.
Yeah, and that's the joys of the combined layout of this circuit, which is that you start at the endurance layout, but the Grand Prix pits are going to be okay. There was a little closed door by Luke King on Jack Vlahovic there in the 778 just behind. So Vlahovic had to lift out of it down through Brussels corner over towards this no-name speaker's corner, whatever you want to call it, and now over to double gauche here, the fast left-hand bend. Provenzali's doing really well, but I'd like to keep focus as well on what's going on in front, because Martin Hallinan under pressure here. Luke Kapotza did not set a time in qualifying and is already looking for a way through, taking a big old diamonded line trying to attack. And look at that behind for aggro. Dale Atkins going for it. Ricky in the grab ball, coming off of Fania, trying to cover off at Campus, forces a way through now through Stavelot's corner and the curve called Frere, and saying, right, I am going to hold my ground and I am not going to let anyone have an easy pass here.
No, you're not going to get it for free. You're not going to get it easy. Just because I haven't run out the whole season doesn't mean I'm going to give it up. I want to race for this as Daniel Fritz has gone off at Blanchimont. Big contact for the only BMW in the field. We know it's a wild ride through here. I know it personally firsthand how wild of a ride Blanchimont can be. And this is going to be a tough one. Massive snap straight in the wall. Big contact, possible damage. I think that car's going to have to come down pit lane.
Yeah, I think it's going to as well. And I am just getting confirmation here as far as I am looking about. Look at that. That is a very, very tough hit to go and deal with. When I'm looking at the championship standings here, Hamish, I am seeing 2 drop rounds applied.
Oh. Interesting. Wait, 2? So that would mean then that only 3 rounds count. And to me, if only 3 rounds count, I think, would it be too much for Kane Ryder to lose it at this point? I mean, he's won 3 races.
I would say that there are 2 points, of course, for Adelaide. So that's where I'm getting.
Yes.
Oh dear,
Yes.
that's a big hit. So Adelaide,
Yeah.
of course, was 2 sprints
Yes.
as it went through. That's drama there for Hallinan dropping down the order, and ultimately that is not going to be ideal. So it will be 1 drop, but of course there are 2 race results that come from Adelaide. So give me a moment, I'll get there.
The fast mathematician known as Jake Sperry working on it in the background to figure it out. But at this stage of the race, Luke Capozza is going slow, but this does not say to me that it should be a slowdown. I mean, this is way too slow for that. So something's happened to this car for him to be going so slow.
I wonder if it's a redress.
I think this is a redress. This is a massive redress. I mean, Hallinan was up with him in that battle actually, but it looks like Hallinan's lost it on his own.
No, he's absolutely running the back of him. Bang! There's the hit.
Yeah. So that answers that question of he's got no steering. The car doesn't want to steer properly, so he's broken a part of the suspension on that front right. And the car doesn't want to run correctly, so he's just trying to nurse it back to pit lane. That is a massive shame for Luke Capozza. He was having a fantastic run here tonight and had great pace on board this Mustang. He's gotten it back up to speed down through Blanchimont, or towards Blanchimont, but I think ultimately this car's going to be in the pit lane as Atkins and Tucker battle for position through turn 1. The Acura and the Porsche fight for the final top 10 position at this stage of the race. A slowdown coming the way of Richard Mayer as well. Warning to car 80. Ben Brook has been given that warning for causing an incident under safety car on lap 5. So if Brook gets into strife again, they may throw the book at him.
They very much will do. Here comes the power along the main straight. Now it could be 3 wide. Backing out goes Dale Atkins, meaning it's only 2. King not giving this one up, wanting to get by Brant Tucker, who's raced for a very long time in sim racing circles, and the door there just shut at Malmedy. Highest section of the circuit from Malmedy down to Speaker's Corner here, Hamish. They dropped 40 meters.
It's wild, isn't it? It's like a playground slide sort of drop. You don't quite see it on the TV cams. When you're on board the car, you can feel the downhill, but I seriously feel that Spa, similar to Bathurst, you could only really tell what the sort of elevation change that happens around here if you're here. You can only really feel it if you're at the circuit. You can't quite get that almost... You don't know what your equilibrium can't quite process it without actually being here and understanding. Matt Schmidtke, by the way, getting a 10-second penalty for contact on lap 5 as well. So Schmidtke is going to be dropping 10 seconds on the board at the end of this race. But yeah, I think Spa and Bathurst, obviously, you don't quite know how steep some of these climbs are around here and how steep some of the descents are without actually feeling it for yourself. And I don't know if TV does it much justice other than Eau Rouge and Radillion, which has obviously quite that visible climb from bottom to top.
I've done the math.
Oh, fantastic.
I believe Daniel McCrohan needs 367 points tonight.
Oh, well, they can't win. It's 330 for a maximum amount of points. That means Kane Ryder's going to win. If that is the case.
Well, there are those bonuses, because I'm looking around at the championship. It's 385, which has been the maximum point score.
Interesting. Was that at Adelaide, though?
No, that's at Bathurst, that's at Road America, that's at Le Mans. I think there has been a championship points update.
Okay, well then that either the information we were told was slightly off, or something's changed. But if it's 385, well, he's not going to get 385 because he didn't get pole. But he might get just under that. But yeah, for McCrowan to win, he needs to win the race. And I think that also would knock Owen Coleman out of contention. He couldn't win from this point. Unless he betters his previous worst. So,
well, his previous worst is a 0, so...
Well, there you go. Well, and I suppose if he's had a 0 and then he gets something... If it's 2 drops... Oh, no, it's only 1 drop. You already determined that, yeah. Wild round of mathematics. But I think at this stage we can determine that for McCrowan to win the championship, he needs to win the race. By the sound of it, is what needs to happen. And right now he's making inroads to that. He's up to P12, down 10 from where he started.
Wow.
But what a run. Up to P12. Shows the pace that he's had. Yes, a couple of cars have been through pit lane all throughout, and we're only about 3 minutes away from the extent of the fuel tank. Although we could probably extend that out thanks to the safety car. Let's say they could go out to about 40 minutes now. All of a sudden, that means that if he can run that bit longer, we might find him up in the top 5 by the time everyone exits pit lane.
So what I'm looking at here is Scott Rankin has just had a drop, so that's him out of the race. What I am keeping a good focus on here as far as this is going to tell is you've already found your way from 40th to 12th over the course of 9 laps. Now, there has been pitters that have helped in that regard to get you to that position. You're half a minute off of the race lead. What you need now, if you are a Daniel McCrowan fan, is a safety car.
Yep. Exactly right. I mean, he gets that safety car, all of a sudden the gap is completely shrunk. He just comes in, does his fuel stop, and he wouldn't take tyres, he'd just take the fuel, and then get straight back out there again. As big dive in towards turn 1 for Tonkin. Couldn't quite get there on Vlahovic, as Matt Schmidtke has gone off down at Blanchimont. So another driver runs
He's
it wide.
used his fast repair.
Yeah, I don't think he's hit the wall. Yeah, that car does not look like it has made contact with the wall possibly, but he has already used that fast repair, as you said. I wonder, was there contact with Ben Wilkes, who has now jumped back to pit lane? And if he has jumped back to pit lane, he did hit the wall.
Oh.
And you know what's interesting, Jake? It's exactly what ended my 2022 run in the Spa 24-hour in that car. So it's the exact same thing.
That's exactly what ended Kimi Raikkonen's run in 2008 here at Spa.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very easy mistake to make, especially with the Lambo and how its characteristics are running right now with its current balance of performance. If your setup's not quite right, because you have to set up around that rear end being loose, that's only going to offer you a world of hurt. And unfortunately for Matt Schmidt, he offered that contact with the wall, knowing that he's already run that fast repair out. This may be not race over, but he's definitely going to have a period of time he's going to have to sit in pit lane. He may be in there for the next 10 to 20 minutes fixing that car, and if he decides he wants to get back out on track, he'll have to wait for those repairs to get fixed up. Close battle on track right now. Ryan Bell and Richard Mayer, although Mayer's going to get right past him. McLaren may do the same thing. Although, no, that's actually lap traffic behind him, so that would be Stefan Mellis, the home track hero here in Belgium. He's down 1 at the moment in P39, as McCrowan has now been given a 10-second penalty for contact on lap 6. So maybe he hasn't been getting through the field as cleanly as what we first anticipated there, Jake.
Maybe not. So I think this is a great time to just see where the contact was for him on that lap 6. And he had a little bump at the last source hairpin to try and push himself around. And just looking over the lap, was there anything uberly dramatic in terms of how he went through, and was there any instant that he... Oh, yeah, it's down at Campus Corner. He has run up the back of Rafael Custodio. There was a car on the right-hand side of the circuit that was spun around, which was Kurt Chapman. And McCrowan basically couldn't get it slowed down quick enough, and it's a slam dunk as far as an incident goes. There you could see there Custodio on the right-hand side. I think we're just about to see it now. It's just a case of not being prepared for how early a car breaks in front of you. Yep,
that's the exact case, and exactly what's happened. I'm glad you told me it was Rafael Custodio. I just had to find when he was getting passed by a lot of people when I found the incident, so it's very lucky for me. No further action as well from him on lap 7 for Daniel McCrowan, so he has been within the eyes of race control throughout this one. He's going to need to try and keep this clean now, because 10-second penalty, yes, it may cost him a race win if he were to get up to the race winning position and Coleman's on his tail, but he arguably needs the race win just to try and win the championship. So he's got to try and be a good boy now for the rest of this race, keep it nice and clean. We're at the 36-minute marker. I'm going to anticipate next 5 minutes when we're going to see these pit stops here, Jake, and then we'll reset ourselves for the next run, hopefully for a full green flag fuel run to the second stop in this race.
I think the window's longer than you think, Hamish, for the fact that we spent 10 minutes under safety car.
That's true. It might be an extra 10 minutes, actually. Maybe slightly less, maybe 7 minutes, because they're still burning fuel while they're driving around. So maybe they go out to 42, 40, yeah, maybe max 45, depending on the car and the fuel burn, might be the extent of that. The better fuel-saving cars may be at the benefit of that. I think the Mustangs are not going to get anywhere near 45 minutes. They may get 42 minutes, knowing that they do like to guzzle fuel. But yeah, the fuel savers out there, they may be able to make it. The Mustangs, I don't know if they will. As McCrowan is following in behind Ricky Provenzale at the moment. Revolution Racing saying, what a cluster of a race so far. It really is. I mean, it has been a wild and chaotic first half an hour of this race. What more is the next 90 minutes going to bring us? And as Cher said, it is plenty of time yet. There's so much time in this race. It could get turned on its head the next three or four more times for the next 90 minutes. We don't know. It's only been just under 40. So there's plenty of racing action still to come. Plenty of chaos still to come, I'm sure. And it's only going to take one moment to bring the field back together again, and all of a sudden it is gloves off once more, and all of a sudden it's chaos once more. So it's a blink, and we may see it happen again scenario.
I think the calm that you're looking for here is going to be found at the front, where it's a 3.5 second margin for Owen Coleman over Jesse Butler as we look at the attempt of a move here. McCrowan versus Provenzale, and this is going to be where you just got to stamp the power down, get to the inside here at Malmedy. Not quite there yet, but there's still overlap coming down to Brussels corner here, dropping down the hill. Finally going to get that sorted on the inside track. That was hard fought for a place for Daniel McCrowan, but Mark of the driver, he is getting that one back. Brant Tucker now sitting on the back of this one on this scrap, 10th, 11th and 12th.
Well, that's right. It's continuing on. Give a shout out as well, Rue Koistra, who was involved in that early incident on lap one as well. He's fought his way back up from P41 to P20 at this point of the race as well. So a couple of the drivers have done well to move their way up the order. We'll see where they end up off of their pit stop. As we said, there's still been quite a few drivers below them that have taken their first pit stop early in this race. Just under 40 minutes have finished up in this one, 39th minute of the race. It's about to get underway. Jack Vlahovic has been caught out in some strife tonight. He's only down 8 positions in his first run in the series. Looks to be running fairly tidy though. He is flashing the lights at Stephen Tonkin, trying to get him out of his way, but doesn't necessarily need to move out of his way, does Stephen. So Vlahovic will have to earn this one, as Brooks been given a no further action for a contact on lap 8 as well. But yeah, field has spread a little bit, but the mid-pack is still nice and tight, and a solitary mistake could lead to an absolute fireworks display with the whole cars or the whole field back together again.
So, with that all being put into mind, two teammates then together on the road in the forms now of Stapleton and Reardon that you can see on screen, and eyeing up those pit stop windows with Atkins directly in front. They're trying to stay here with Jason Adams, Jack Vlahovic, Stephen Tompkin, Rick Provenzale. They're all looking to try and hold their ground in placement, but this is going to be where you try and find the differences between the balance of performance here. Bent up, dented Mustang in a straight line versus an Acura out there, and the Acura not necessarily getting many updates anymore in the real world, just to the fact that it's an older machinery there. Honda don't want to do anything, so Acura by proxy won't. That's just sweeping around the outside. Patrick Reardon making good progress and recovering his way back up through the order, and that puts him now to -2 for the day.
That's not too bad. I mean, only down 2, didn't have to come in under that first safety car period, so he has run the whole race on this tank of fuel and these set of tyres as well. He's realistically speaking though, the 4 cars ahead of him that have pitted in Adams Vlahovic, Tonkin and McCrowan. Well, is he down 2 or is he necessarily up 2? I mean, he's only dropped positions to those that were already ahead of him, who have already been through pit lane, although Jason Adams up 22 after pitting on lap 1, and that's still a very solid effort. The other point of context I want to put into this too, you can see back here, Peter Baxter is still winning the Challenger class because he is a position ahead of Gavin Simpson back in P26 and P27 respectively. Both of those drivers. We are past 40 minutes in this race. Race leader has not come in just yet. Will he come in at the end of this lap, or will it be another one on top of that? I think he may have to come in at the end of this one, because that'll work out to roughly nearly 44 minutes in this Mustang. I don't know if he can make another 2 minutes after that, so he may have his hand forced here, Jake, to come in a lap earlier than some others.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. It just means that he's got to do a little bit more work extending the stint. And I can confirm that there is 32 points scored from the qualifying result for Daniel McCrowan, which means he must score 335 points in the race to go and get the result that he needs. And for a race win out here in the Premier Endurance League, you get 350 points. Second grants you 320. So he has got to get to first place here, Hamish, plus 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's the task at hand for Daniel McCrowan to win this championship. More NFAs going the way of drivers, by the way. Car 83, Ryan Bell's been given one for blocking, apparently. So that's his warning. If he does it again, he'll get a penalty off of race control. But for McCrowan, a safety car would light this back up for him. If he ends up in pit lane again due to any harm to this Corvette, then championship run will likely be over. The one thing we can say is this Team Max Boost, they pretty much locked themselves the championship as of the last round out at Le Mans. It's not going to be Kane Ryder today unless Daniel McCrowan doesn't win this race. If he doesn't, then Kane Ryder will win it from sitting at home with an injury. If McCrowan does win, it'll go the way of McCrowan opposed to Ryder for Team Max Boost.
Isn't that the coolest way, though, to win a championship, Hamish?
For
you just
a team,
sit up,
yeah.
Well, for a team, yes, but for a driver, you sit up, you watch the final round in front of you, you turn around, you get whatever fruity beverage that you want next to you and go, yeah, life is good, isn't it? If he doesn't get what he needs, I'm champion, and I didn't have to lift a finger.
I think that is probably the worst way for the rest of the field to lose the championship, but it's definitely the best way for the champion to win it because they don't have to do anything. So for everyone else, it would be very frustrating and infuriating that someone would win the championship sitting at home, not even racing. For the champion, he would be as happy as anyone could. As Ryan Bell has had to come in, Coleman has gone the extra lap, so he's committing here to a 46-minute run. I don't think he'll get much further than that, but I've been proven wrong before. But at 65% fuel, knowing we lost 10 minutes thanks to the safety car, I don't see it any further than that, Jake. I honestly don't. I think even this lap may take some fuel save for him to get it home.
Yeah, so you have to just be working out where are you putting down the power and where are you not. And one thing that does have to be noted, Hamish, the best drivers, and it's one of the most frustrating things about racing and sim racing, the best drivers in the world are often the best fuel savers in the world as well, just by the matter of fact of they can take the path of the least resistance better than everyone else.
That's right. You know, they're often the smoothest drivers, and because they are the smoothest drivers, they're not putting as much on the throttle pedal, and they're not stabbing at the throttle pedal. Smooth inputs, meaning they are burning that less amount of fuel. They're burning less tires as well. And then, if you look at it from an average sim racer's perspective, I classify myself as a very average sim racer when I do drive, and I'm definitely on the lower end of average. But you look at that fuel savability and how clean they can keep their car, it is almost mind-blowing that they can possibly do that. But it is possible at the top end of everything, at the upper echelon of drivers, even the upper echelon of the mid-tier drivers, of those that are 3 or 4K, even when they do it, it can be mind-blowing to the fact that they can put every piece together correctly, save themselves enough fuel. He's going again. How is he going and up? What is happening? I don't understand how he saved this much fuel, because the Porsche Butlers had to come in. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
His name's Owen Coleman, and he does not stop. Neil is going to stay out, but Johnson now, Benjamin Johnson is going to come in. So I think we're now hitting cycle at this point, and it's a bit more extended than what we thought. We were thinking, well, 45 minutes is what we're going to be at the latest. I think 45 minutes, Hamish, was the early mark.
I think it might have been. At this point, that's what it's looking like. McLaren and King have had to come in. Tucker's had to come in. I'm honestly speechless. I'm actually speechless that they managed to push this far. I'm not even going to claim that he has to come in this lap. He's going to have to come in when he has to come in at this point, because I cannot predict it now. Like, you know, part of me wants to say, oh yes, he definitely has to come in this lap. He didn't come in last lap, but now it's looking like, well, I don't know. On fuel, 35 minutes. It was also told it was going to be 16 laps. This means he's gone 18 laps, so he's at least saved 2 laps of fuel under the safety car. I've not seen a world where someone has managed to save 3 laps outside of an oval race, and that being at a super speedway like Daytona or Talladega. I've not seen someone be able to save 3 laps of fuel before a pit stop through a safety car cycle. But being that Spa is one of the longest racetracks, I think it's the 3rd longest permanent race course in the world, the fact that it is so long does help that fuel save, but I think we should be expecting Coleman in this lap. That's what my heart is telling me, Jake. It's telling me he should be in this lap. If he's not, I haven't got an answer for it.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's in this lap, but you've got to remember the safety car was called incredibly early on that first lap, so it was effectively 4 full laps of saving to allow for that opportunity, and there was part of it where you're running at half speed. So Coleman into the final chicane then, and is going to pull over to the right and is going to dive down the single track pit lane entry here at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Should be followed by Neil, Piper and Mayer, but I'm not shocked if Daniel McCrowan goes out longer, because when he took his fast repair, they would have filled the tank to full.
Yeah, I mean, I could see McCrowan either doing 1 lap extra, maybe 2 laps extra, because of that stationary time that he was sat there. He wasn't burning fuel, having to do that extra lap whilst the safety car was getting the field sorted, so he may be okay to
Piper
go 2
stayed
more.
out.
Well, I suppose we better watch him with a close eye, because he may run out of fuel. This would be a monumental fuel save if he's done this. This will be 3 laps. It's either he's forgotten to come in, or he's gotten his Hogwarts letter. It is about that time of year that they would get them in the Harry Potter universe, but yeah, it's going to be magic.
Are you saying that Daniel Piper's 11 years old?
I mean, no, I'm not saying that. But maybe Hogwarts, maybe they just didn't have his address until he was old, until he was too old. Maybe that's the world that's being built. Maybe they just didn't have his, maybe he moved too much. Maybe he was a late bloomer with magic. I think there was wizards who didn't get their magic until they were adults.
Well, Daniel Piper will look around at it and said, my magic is in my fuel tank. I think he's going to be very happy at what he's been able to do over this race. And I think he's looking around and going, right, how far can I extend this for a very good final stop? Because if you are extending it to the level that you are here, you're getting to 50 minutes on this opening stint. You're not looking at this one being too difficult for a final stop. You're only looking at a 25-minute final stop, most likely, which would, as far as it go, be, I don't know, filling up 40% of the tank to bring it home. That is a lot of time you save on pit lane compared to those who have pretty much put a brick over the right pedal.
It's probably going to be, at bare minimum, a 5-second save, maybe even up to a 10-second save in pit lane. That's fairly significant. For especially for a front runner. If you compound that with, let's say, a safety car comes out at the right time, all of a sudden it looks super tasty, it looks really magical, and you look like you've set yourself up for a possible podium finish. I don't know if he can get the race win. That would be a monumental task to do that on pure fuel save and strategy alone. He's into pit lane. McCrowan may go 1 more lap. he may go one more lap. But he's not going to. He's going to come in this time by. Stephen Tonkin, we expect him this time by as well. He is in. Greg Barber should be in this. No, actually, no. Greg Barber can go longer. He pitted on lap 3. So Barbs should be able to go another 2 laps. Owen Coleman should be the corrected race leader at this point in time. But if a safety car were to come out and he decided to come in, that may change it.
Of course, but for Owen Coleman now, he's doing everything he needs to confirm his place of 3rd in the championship, which is just go out there, drive the course in front, had the pole position, didn't really get challenged off at the start, and has just been battling well to build margin. This has been pretty much a very nice Sunday evening drive that he's been navigating through at an in-sim time nearing 7 o'clock. Now, this is a lovely battle here for Rui Coistra as Provençale off the road, then going through at double gauche, but side by side to oh, come on, no, not too wide at Blanchimont here. Roy! Wow! Benjamin Johnson on the cold tyres then, seeing that one change, but here comes another attempt back at the final chicane, up and under it to get the drive off the exit. Coistra, I think, just about safe, but look at the drive of that Corvette.
Oh, he's got the power down beautifully off of the final corner, putting the pressure on Coistra down towards turn 1. He covers that outside line perfectly. Johnson didn't want to try and slip it up the inside. And now they'll run up towards Eau Rouge and Radillion once again. And Coistra's got a good little gap here up towards the uphill run. But you've got to be committed through here if you're Johnson to try and set yourself up at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Through Radillion they ride. Full force, full pressure. For them, hopefully no lift. As Johnson's getting a good run, Coistra will try to cover the inside line here. See him move further up the road as well. Nathan Hodges trying to get past Daniel Piper, who's come out in P12 on the overall as Coistra survives that battle. So that fuel save has dropped Piper, in fact, below Tonkin and Hodges, although Tonkin was able to put less fuel in because he last pitted on lap 3. That's gained him a little bit of time over Piper through pit lane.
Is that really a problem, though, for Daniel Piper when he's stuck around other cars and he can draft off of them?
Not really. Not that much of a problem, I suppose, but the issue then becomes if he starts battling them and that costs him time, that's then where the real issue comes from. Cher asking, can anyone tell me if the car goes for a fast repair so early, is it still classified as a pit stop or not? It would be still classified as a pit stop, Cher. They would only put a lap worth of fuel in the car because that's all it could fit as Gavin Simpson comes into pit lane for his pit stop. And Coleman now takes back the race lead. So it would still count as a pit stop, but they're only going to put a lap of fuel in the car if it can fit it. You know, i.e. Daniel McCrowan wouldn't have gotten too much fuel on board, hence why he could only go the lap longer. But yeah, if it's lap 2 or lap 3, then you put that little bit more fuel in, but still don't want to be taking that fast repair so early in the race.
No, because it's about giving yourself platform for the second half of the race. If you get caught up in something, you've got another way to get back in. And it is one of the great sim racing luxuries, I think, Hamish, the fast repair, because if you go out and try and race GT3s in the real world, you don't have a spare car available. Do you have a spare 200, 300,000 pounds to put into a car to say, look, you can go out and wreck another one?
No, ultimately, and I mean, I suppose it'd be nice if they had a button that just fixed the car completely, but gone are the days of having a spare car that you can hop straight into and get back out on the circuit. That's obviously been done to bring costs down, obviously, for teams. They used to take, you know, a third spare car with them to the racetrack, but no longer is that the case. And you know, I suppose it is one of the luxuries of sim racing. And then other people will go out there in some leagues that don't offer fast repairs and they'll complain, but if you want it as realistic as possible, you'd be running it without a fast repair available to you. And I think that's probably one of the beauties of the special events, is the fact that you don't get the fast repair, you have to keep your race clean. But then obviously when you get caught out in someone else's drama or skill issue or mistake, that's when it can be frustrating because you don't have the fast repair to save your race and it's been absolutely tattered and destroyed by somebody else.
So with that into mind, you don't want to be that driver who gets caught up in an instant, as McCrowan here now up to 4th position through all of that, just ahead of Luke King, has really worked hard to get back this race, but still down half a minute and still with a lot of work to do. This is Piper and Benici then in play. Koistra, Johnson then sitting on the rear through Fania and over to Campus Corner. Lovely bit, Campus, actually. It's the Institute of Technology here in Belgium, and it's where a lot of bus drivers out there learn their trade on how to be a bus driver, and all the mechanics turn around. Oh, it's a big smash up in front. 2 cars there in trouble, and one of them is again Daniel McCrowan.
It is indeed. There's been a few incidents that have occurred over these last few laps, and McCrowan, this is a big one, especially in terms of his recharge to championship glory. Came around, caught the debris on the road that even caught out Luke King. McCrowan tried to hold the brakes. He has sat there perfectly. Oh my God, and then the OPR machine, I believe that was Nathan Hodges, was also caught out by it. So a lot of debris down there has caught out quite a few cars. Matt Schmidtke, I think, was also one of them. This was earlier to that incident. So a lot of gravel has been dragged down there by somebody. I don't know who, but that is going to become a danger zone very, very quickly now, Jake, and drivers are going to have to be careful.
Yes, and it takes a few laps for the gravel to be dissipated off the circuit. The more cars there are, the easier it goes off the track. But it's not like that you can get the virtual marshals out there with the virtual sweeper brushes to get it off the circuit. You're going to have to drive it off the track, and it means that you are going to be on a surface that for half a corner isn't actually asphalt. It's going to be gravel stone, and so it makes life really, really tough for everyone else around. But that's just been the story of McCrowan's race. He's had all the pace to get himself closing up, and then the mistake comes in. The mistake came on lap 1, the mistake came on lap 6, the mistakes come along again. If you're making mistakes when you're trying to drive back to your championship here and you're over driving the car, mistakes are more likely to come about, and this is why it becomes even tougher of a concept to go and get this to work. He's now got to do all of that again, back from 13th.
He does, and it's almost like he's hitting the peak of the mountain he's climbing, looking up, the clouds disappear, and all of a sudden there's another peak in front of him that he has to climb, thinking that he's already at the top. And that's the challenge that's being laid out to Daniel McCrowan this evening. Whether it's that Kane Ryder is making the mountains appear in front of him, or it's just sheer poor luck that's happening for McCrowan as well. But yeah, I mean, this has happened in the first hour of the race. He's gone down 11 positions to P13. There's still an hour to go. He managed to get back up to P4 before that happened. He could do it once again in the next 60 minutes.
Very much could do, as he finds himself on the Dunning-Kruger peak by the looks of things as he walks on through his race. Piper, though, gets back to the rear of Luke King, who has dropped back a couple of places on this lap to the tune of about 6 seconds. So it looks like Luke King has had himself a moment. He himself has had that moment heading through Stavelot, and so with his half slide, he now leads this pack and realises, I probably don't want 4 cars behind me right now.
No, probably not. You especially don't want them behind you if you do make that mistake again, and they don't have enough time to pull it up and they drive straight through you. So for King, he'll want to try and push ahead, but he won't want to make that mistake twice over. He's got Piper, Benici and Koistra on his tail, and then Ben Johnson a little bit further back as well. And further up from them, there's Stephen Tonkin and Tristan McLaren battling for position, as well as this little line of cars just trying to find their way through, figure out a time and a place to go for their move, make the overtake happen. For Owen Coleman, well, he sits in a very tidy position at this point of the race. He's 21 seconds ahead of Jesse Butler in the race lead. His predicted pit out position is P4 at this stage, and actually that's wrong because it's saying it's 35 seconds is the gap through pit lane. It's not. It's actually closer to 50 seconds for a pit lane traversal. So that will actually put him further down towards P14 if he were to come into pit road. But that tight battle pack of King back to Koistra, this is the closest pack we've got on track with 4 cars in it, and it's really starting to heat up for these drivers in the back end of the top 10.
Little searching line by Sean Benici to go, oh, and Koistra gets a lot of gravel out there. But if you want to talk about drivers who have really profited in this race, Sean Benici started 42nd, is 9th. Tristan McLaren started 45th, is 6th. Luke King started this race 40th. That's 3 drivers who have not qualified the car at all, gaining 33, 39 and 34 places respectively. That is a defence by Piper into the final section. King as well covering off the line. That nearly gives Piper an angle to the inside. I think they're all looking at each other right now.
I think they're all looking at each other and they're all saying, I want to get through. And they're all saying, well, I don't want to let you through at the same time. And they're figuring out when they want to go for the attack. And if they go for the attack, are they going to open themselves up for an attack from behind them? It's the balancing act of when to attack, when to defend, and when to just sit there and wait as best you can. To give the update as well on your Challenger Class Championship standings, Gavin Simpson currently sits P24. Peter Baxter's all the way back in P34, so 10 positions separating them at the moment. I think Pete might have some work to do if he wants to win that championship.
There's a lot of work to do, but I would say that he's got 50 points to try and navigate back up, and there's still a lot of time left in this race, but I'd be keeping a very close eye on what that championship looks like. He's down in 34th, and I would be very, very alert to the fact that the drop rounds also play the same factor then in the Challenger Championship. Leave it with me for 5 minutes, Hamish, and I'll get a good accurate picture of where they are right now.
We have got the arithmetic skills of Jake Sperry back in action for the second half of this race as well. Brendan Purcell is now into pit lane, so we'll take another stop here as well. And he's saying Tristan is driving really well. Yeah, I mean, Tristan McLaren, a great drive to go 39 spots up, avoid the initial incident on the road as well. He's driving incredibly well. Shout out to Stephen Tonkin too, who's already had 2 stops in this race. He's done well to get himself up inside of the top 10, now top 5 at this point of the race too. So both of them driving incredibly well. They've got some lap traffic ahead of them. One of the Mustangs over there, I believe that is not John Trott, that is Matt Webber, who had an incident earlier on. He's a couple laps down at this stage, so they'll try and get past the lap traffic and push on once again as the second hour is underway here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's the final round of the season, of course. We await to find out next season's calendar, and excitingly for next season as well, we'll be broadcasting across both the Premier Endurance League and the Infinity Broadcasting channels too, so you can go and help support us over on Infinity Broadcasting by clicking the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing. We've got great racing from around the world over there too. We've got split 2 of the Simrigs V8 Veterans Series. That started up today for season 28. Round 1 was at Bathurst. Tomorrow we broadcast Highside Motorsports from Kansas Speedway in the Dodge City 250. They're based out of the US, so a bit of international flavour over there, and Premier Endurance League becomes the 3rd broadcast on the channel in the weekly schedule, or in terms of PEL, monthly schedule for broadcasts over there. So you can help support us by clicking the like button, subscribe, the bell icon too over on the Infinity Broadcasting channel, and you can help support Premier Endurance League by clicking the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon too here on the PEL channel as well. Still to come is the final round of the Motor Sim World GT3 Open Championship here for Premier Endurance League. They'll be racing right here at Spa in a few weeks' time, so you can find all that action coming your way when SimSpeed TV bring you the Open Series on your screens once more. Daniel Fritz is into pit lane. BMW's really been struggling here tonight, Jake, after contacting the wall at Blanchimont earlier on. But that battle pack of Piper, Benici, Koistra, and now Johnson is really starting to heat up inside the back end of the top 10.
It is, and with that regard, I would be looking at these drivers. They've held their line and form, but King's starting to pull away slightly, so Piper's having to do a little bit more defensive work with Benici, who's following. Koistra then holding, and Benjamin Johnson slowly falling off the back of the group. So that is going to be concerning here, that you don't want to be the one in the wrong position, seeing that gap just opening and extending and making life tougher and tougher and tougher. I think that you are trying everything you can to hold steady and get these passes done. This is a lovely good look here for Sean Benici right now. If you can go to the outside, there's been a car in the wall down there over at the final section. I wonder whether it's Ryan Bell who has just jumped into the pits, and it has been then side by side off the exit. And Piper has the inside, though, for the on-camber corner of La Source, which is directly connected to the town of Spa on the left-hand side. And you drive from the town of Spa up the hill now towards the town of Francorchamps, hence the name Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great part of the world, of course. Of course, this racetrack originally was a street course at one point in time, as majority of racing circuits around the world have been at one point or another as well. Let's see Ryan Bell's incident, although he has also just jumped to pits now as well. So his moment is not getting any better, as that was his contact in the wall at Blanchimont. Very, very easy to do. And now he'll nurse that car through pit road once more. See as well that we've got the link to the Infinity Broadcasting channel in the chat now too, so you can follow that and come help support us over there as well. But Daniel Piper continues to battle away here with Sean Benici and Rui Koistra. This is still the closest battle on circuit. We've got Mark Foster battling away at the moment with Patrick Reardon as well, but this is only a one-on-one fight at this stage. Everyone else is relatively spread out throughout the field. You know what we could use right now, Jake, that would really spice things up?
A safety car.
A Sudspeed Gloves safety car. We could really use a Sudspeed Gloves safety car just to bring everyone back together again.
Do you want something spicy, though?
Of course.
Because I have spicy for you.
Oh.
Gavin Simpson is currently 23rd. Peter Baxter is currently in 32nd position. Baxter, as far as the race is going, looked around, qualified his car in P20, so would score 11 points at the moment, but would get no points for the race finishing result at the moment, being outside of the top 30. So that 11 would actually be his drop, and so he would go to 579 points. Gavin Simpson, by policy, gets no points for qualifying, but is currently in 23rd position in this race. So he's currently scoring 80 points. He needs 83 points to get by Baxter in the championship as he stands. He needs to make one position to take the Challenger Championship. He has got to chase down 6 seconds on Trent Stapleton.
Well, I asked you to provide it, and just like a over-exuberant white person going to an Indian restaurant, you delivered much, much spice to my table there, Jake, so I appreciate it. The one thing, though, that could change that up is if Peter can get into the top 30, he will then begin he'll then begin to start earning points in this race. And one question I have for you is, so let's say he gets past Rafael Custodio. Does his good friend Scott Rankin then just start to lift off and give him the position for P30 and give him the points so he gets points? You don't think so?
No. Because he's got to then chase 11 seconds down.
That's true.
I think if he got to 1 second back, I think he would. But not
at 11 Gavin
Whoa!
Simpson in the wall at Radillion. That was very, very close to championship done and dusted. Very, very close.
I think Gavin Simpson there, Hamish, is very happy about the fact that he's had the toddler bounce, where you know, a toddler gets involved in an incident and they bounce up like nothing happened. Yes. So that was very much the case there, Radillion. That car should be totaled. He's lucky it's not.
He's so lucky. I mean, I've seen lighter contact take a front end off of one of the 992 Porsches. The fact that he scraped the wall on the exit of Radillion and it still looks okay. Let's check on board with him, see if he's got any steering damage. No, it's still running pretty straight.
Got damage.
Do you reckon? Oh, yeah. There is some.
And there goes the place.
Yeah.
Because that's Provenzel who goes through. So now he's got to get 2 places.
Yeah.
And we got to hope that he wasn't involved in the lap 1 incident there.
That's right.
So we got to hope that he turns around and he doesn't have, or he still has, a fast repair at his final stop.
He was involved. He's pitted 3 times in this race. One of them was on lap 1. So he was involved in the lap 1 incident. So he doesn't have the fast repair up his sleeve. So he's got to try and not only nurse this thing around, he's got to try and nurse it and gain 2 positions to win this championship. As Daniel Fritz has now gone off at the entry to the back straight, as I think this is going to be a scenario of catching the gravel at the wrong time. And it's another snap oversteer for that BMW. That has really been troubling Daniel Fritz here this evening.
It has. That BMW is pernickety as a car to go and work with, and not everybody loves driving it. I've seen some of even the best sim racers in the world not have much love with that BMW, so it's a shame to see at the moment as Koistra keeps it. He's now ahead, of Piper here, but also dropping back. Tristan McLaren has fallen down the order a couple places, so Tristan's starting to struggle.
Yes, indeed. Scott Rankin now into pit lane as well. So remembering that a regular green flag run here is 16 laps on fuel. Owen Coleman last came in on lap 18, so we should see him in roughly at lap 34 come into pit lane. 6 laps time, it's about 12 minutes. He might get this job done in one more stop here, Jake.
I'm pretty sure most, if not all, can get it done on one more stop from this position onwards. It's going to be very, very interesting how the end of this race is going to go. And I would be turning around, keeping an eye as Scott Rankin, is a bit early down into the lane with the drop. Oh, Krellin's gone around in front of the main group then of Johnson, Piper, Koistra through at Campus Corner, is able to avoid drama out there. We'll catch this here on your replay. And this is what happens when you get scared that you've got to let many drivers through. Hits the brakes, in through the corner. The Porsche, typically the slipperiest car out there, so is typically going to be the most scared of corners.
It's very odd that he decided to almost not even trail brake the car through there. He just jumped on it and decided to brake mid-corner as Koistra barely gets the move made on Capots and the lap traffic in and amongst this pack of cars. It has really heated up our screens over the last 20 minutes or so. It has this battle pack for the minor positions inside of the top 10. But it's great to see Koistra. What a recovery to this point. He's only down 1 position in this race after getting caught out in that lap 1 incident up at Radillion. This is a phenomenal drive. If he can hold on to this, remain inside the top 10 throughout the rest of this race, this may be one of the best drives we've seen from him, and probably his best drive of the whole season.
Yeah, because it's about not what you get involved in, Hamish. It's about how you
Recover.
battle back from the adversity that you have, how you respond to that. Koistra has done a really good job in that Ferrari of responding back, finding the drivers around, gaining those places to say this race still very much on. And I love that in terms of where promise goes. I also quite like the fact that this is still a very critical race for those points inside the top 10, because all these drivers know this is the last chance to score points this season. This is the last chance to say, I am this good in this championship.
Well, that's right. You know, you get some points on the board, you know, get yourself a better championship position or protect your current championship position as well. Not only use it as a bragging rights system, but also as a proving ground to yourself, a measuring stick, if you will, of where you want to be in the next season. If you find yourself P15 in the championship, maybe you want to go for a top 10 in the championship next season. And this is that stepping stone, not only to getting some momentum onto that, but getting yourself some confidence as well. It's very easy to get lost in the source of where you found your talent one season and where you've lost it in the next. If you can pick it out, as Andrew Neil has had a moment as well. Let's see here what's happened to him.
Ooh.
Further down the order, he was up on the podiums. This is a big one for one of those podium drivers. We've seen struggles tonight for the Lamborghinis. How's this happened? Final corner, just spins it round. Didn't hit the wall, but old tyres possibly. Bit of old brain, and There she goes.
I think that's just a case of you tip it into the corner and you actually climb up the hill. So if you put all your rotation through at the final chicane early, you need the back to respond to you. That's just not having enough aerodynamic grip to plant the car down to the floor, because in the low speeds you're very much reliant on the mechanical, and when you've got a car that's mechanically wanting to jump about as much as the Lamborghini is, Andrew Neil ultimately pays the price. It's a spin that costs him 10 seconds and 2 places as well. Stephen Tompkin from 17th on the grid is now on the podium.
I mean, what a drive for him. Unbelievable. Currently up over, he's up 14 positions to get onto the podium, and this is a phenomenal drive. Match that with Richard Mare's 19 positions gain. You then match that with Neil's 13 positions gain, although he did drop 2 after that mistake. And then you look to Luke King and Benici, both above 30 positions gain, and then McLaren also up 30 positions. A fantastic drive for them. And then you can't even forget to mention, yes, Koistro is on a net gain of 0 right now. You got to think about how many he lost on lap 1, and the fact that he's fought his way back to this point is just like gaining 30 positions. This top 10 has had to earn their way forward, aside from Jesse Butler and Owen Coleman, who got out unscathed on lap 1. The rest of the top 10 have had to fight their way back into this position and earn this top 10 positioning. Now they've got to try and hold on to it for the next 43 minutes and counting. And the difficulty that we may find, if they make it out to 1 hour and 25 minutes, they come in, will they have enough fuel to do an extra lap if we cross the line with seconds to go? That is going to be a key factor. Will they have to save fuel? Will we get another safety car in this race to help them along the way? Or to be told in the final 43 minutes of Season 7 of the Premier Endurance League GT3 Limited Series, brought to you by Dash Offroad, of course, as well. Sudspeed Gloves for their support of the safety car period, Sim Racing and Focus podcast, which can be found at all podcast outlets like Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, and as well to Kibby Graphics too for their continued support of the series. Next season's going to be exciting. First full season that we're broadcasting the series here on Affinity Broadcasting, and I'm excited for it. I hope you all are as well, as we'll prepare for what's to come for the next season.
Owen Coleman, I think, has complete control now of this race with a 12-second margin over Jesse Butler. Oh, side by side, over towards turn 1. Piper inside. McLaren trying to sweep around. He's going to have to abandon it here up the top of the hill. Oh, there's going to be contact. That's going to force into the grass there to 3 wide. Benjamin Johnson ends up with nowhere to go. That tempers the run out there. McLaren immediately on the radio to race control to have a look at it here, but he'll back out of it, allow Benjamin Johnson to have the place. That was very nearly the moment there, Hamish, where the unicorns turned back to horses.
Oh, it was so close for them to get caught out in what could have been a mammoth moment. Could have brought out the safety car if it had ended very badly. Look who it's dragged back into it though. Daniel McCrowan now on the tail of these cars and putting pressure on them as well to this stage of the race. What more can he get out of this? He needs the race win to win the elite class here this evening. If he can do that, unbelievable. If he can't do that, well, at the very least for that team of Team Max Boost, at least his teammate Kane Ryder would win the championship sitting at home, injury prone, but as a champion looking ahead. And now if we look back as well to that Challenger class, Atkins leading the way. Gavin Simpson is 24th position. Peter Baxter is 28th. Right now, Pete is winning the championship.
Yeah, and he's doing so effectively by having this round as a drop round here. So Ben Wilkes and Benjamin Brook are 3rd and 4th in the championship. Ben Wilkes is out of the race in 45th position. Benjamin Brook, by comparison, oh, that's Custodio again around. That looks like that's over at Les Combes, maybe even Bruxelles. We'll see. Yeah, Les Combes, I think that's just tipped it in. Don't have enough. Whoop, round you go.
Yeah, very easy to do, especially in those mid-engine cars. You just turn it in that little bit too aggressively. You get caught out maybe on a little bit of gravel on the circuit, something like that, and all hell breaks loose away from you, and round she goes. That's a tough run there for Raphael, but he manages to keep himself going and out of the wall. Pit stops coming around though. Sean Benici is in, as is Greg Heaney. So first stops, they've got 40 minutes on the clock. They haven't saved enough to make the extra 5 minutes. This is going to be tight for them on fuel. They may need a safety car to get home.
That's going to be tough. And the one thing you got to remember as well about this circuit, the combined layout, because you've got both the Grand Prix pits and the endurance pits, it's the longest pit lane in iRacing.
Yeah. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible, this is pit lane. Absolutely horrible, Jake. I recall...
It's not as horrible as it used to be.
No, it's not.
Because you've got to remember, they used to have the wall
that
came around turn one, where you could Austin Powers yourself.
Yes, that's very true. I remember when practicing for my last Spa 24-hour attempt, and every time I'd do practice, I wasn't willing to drive through pit lane at speed limit. I would just drive straight through and clear my blacks at the end, because I wasn't willing to spend that 50-odd seconds of time driving down the pit lane as slow as you like. It's horrid when you have to drive down it. If anyone wanted to get a drive-through tonight, well, that would be just the slowest drive-through in history for them. But it's definitely gotten better with the changes that they've made to the circuit, the changes they've made to that pit lane, of course, but then also the changes up at Radillion from Eau Rouge as well. So I appreciate that they did make those changes. It's made it better for drivers. It's arguably made this track a lot safer as well in the real world, but it's still Spa. It's still difficult. It's still a challenge, but it's still one that everybody wants to win whenever they come here. I think if you ran, a Spa race every single season, would it become too much? Maybe. When you don't run it that often, it makes it even more special.
Yeah, and this place used to be the toughest place in the world for instant points. They have slightly relaxed them, but it's still very difficult at Spa when it comes to picking up all of those, as Mayer is in for his final stop then of the race. And, you used to see it back when there weren't actually instant point limits at the Spa 24 and iRacing. Drivers would pick up so many incident points, right, that they would actually overflow the cap of 1,024 in iRacing. It couldn't register how many they truly had, to the point where there would be pro-licensed drivers, Hamish, that went down to D0.01. And I tell you what, the biggest Skip Barber strength of fields the world ever saw the week after.
Of course. Oh, you can see as well, Johnson battling away here with McLaren. They managed to get themselves through in a great battle between them. McCrowan just trying to sneak his way through. What more can he do now in the final 37 minutes of this race? We're 2 minutes away from critical time. We're 1 lap away from critical lap to get yourself home in this one. What more can happen in this race? It's been relatively tame since that safety car restart. But what we've seen is great door-to-door action. Some unfortunate mistakes for some drivers out there, but ultimately a great race here at Spa.
It's wonderful, and this is where I think you're going to be really understanding that these race laps now, you're trying to gear up for your final stint, and I would be looking around and not wanting to overtake at this point. Oh, is that again going to be troubles there? It's Greg Heaney who's gone around then from 28th position, and that is a big old off at Blanchimont, sending out the smoke signal. There might be a new sim racing pope soon.
I was going to say, is that giving you a preview for your next weekend, Jake, when you get to call some drifting action? Do you expect to see that much smoke the next time you're in a commentary booth?
No, because that's a back entry, and if it's a back entry, you get 0 points for it.
Well, we see cars coming into pit lane now, so Luke King's in, Johnson's in, McLaren's in too. Final stop of the race, so important for them to get it right. They've got to maximise themselves. Coleman, well, we could expect him in this lap. Could he find himself a piece of magic and gain a lap here as well? Go 17 without a safety car. Would take a monumental fuel save to do it. He managed to save 2 laps under the first safety car in this race with a full green flag run this time by. No one to challenge him. He's been able to cruise. Because he's been able to cruise, I think he could get an extra lap out of this car, guarantee himself to get home to the checkered flag.
And that would be amazing, just not having to worry about what you're doing in the race, knowing that you've got everybody covered behind. The gap's there up there now at 18 seconds, you're pulling away. Look at this, on the last lap, Owen Coleman a 2:16.6. Jesse Butler had a 2:18.8 on that last lap. What does that indicate to me as far as last lap goes for Jesse Butler? Either he had a little mistake out there, or the alternative is he is desperately trying to fuel save to make a number. And I think it's more of the latter than the former. I think he's trying to make a number.
Well, the reason I agree with you is he went 17 laps on his first stint. He had to make lap 34 to get the car home. So he needed to fuel save this and last lap.
God,
Coleman's
shifted so early.
I know, because he knows that he needs this. He needs to come in this lap. And he needed the extra lap to save himself the fuel save in the final run. Coleman has come in for his final stop of the race. Butler will follow him in. He did the job of fuel saving this car.
Oh, Johnson black flag.
Lap. And Johnson with a black flag is not going to help his case. He's already been in some strife tonight in terms of on-track battles. And a black flag is going to hurt him. Drive-through penalty, nail in the coffin. Stop-hold penalty, even larger nail in the coffin. For a hope in hell of getting a good finish here this evening. This will drop him right down the order, and this will take him out of contention for a top 20. My.
It's speeding on pit exit. He hit the mark. Oh, half a second too early. That's a slide behind, but half a second too early coming off the limiter. They've dinged him for it.
Yep, and the new limiter changes that they've put into iRacing. That's one of the big tests of it. And it's changed since we were last with you, of course. We've gone into Season 3 of iRacing now. They've changed the pit limiter system and how that will measure you. You do not have any room for margin in terms of your limiter being pressed slightly early. You have to hit it on the correct marker or after to save yourself the black flag. This will be a drive-through, and this will be race over for Ben Johnson in terms of a top 20 finish here tonight, outside of pure chaos ensuing.
And it is the case of when you go for the pit lane here at Spa on a drive-through penalty, it's almost like walking through Game of Thrones and they're going ding, 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 shame.
I mean, it's heartbreak for him. It was a great drive, this one. He's not going to come in yet. I think he's going to run the whole 3 laps here, Jake, it seems, before he actually commits to it. The beauty is he has already taken his pit stop. Owen Coleman, though, has got Jesse Butler right on his heels. Butler?
Oh, wow.
Oh, I think I know why. Coleman took a 46-second stop. He took tyres. Butler didn't.
Well, it's desperate stuff to make it work, but if Jesse Butler is going to be there on no tyres, he's going to have them up Septor immediately, and he gets in the door. He gets back to the rear quarter panel and gives him a tap forward for it. He is realising this is the race.
He is. He knows that he has an opportunity to gain some great points here in this championship fight. He's flashing the lights at him, trying to put him off. There's lap traffic in behind them. He's a non-factor, is Nick Wood, as Daniel Fritz has had a moment as lap traffic. We'll try and check it out in a moment here. Big move, though, around the outside. Trying to get it done. Can Butler take the corrected race lead? He can from Owen Coleman. But wait for those tyres to get up to temperature. That Mustang's going to come straight back at the Porsche. And this battle for the race lead's going to be on in the final half an hour here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. The final half an hour of the season, as this was Daniel Fritz's moment.
Well, it's 3 nibbles for on the rear of Jesse Butler. Fritz has just gone straight on, abandoned the chicane, and has basically had to take the escape road to get back onto circuit. But critical there was the way you had to avoid the contact. Koistra there in 12th position, holding on. You've got Barber and Atkins then, who are coming down for their final stops of the race. So still to pit, Tonkin, Piper, and McCrowan, and whoa, that was smoke.
It was. Was that someone who's... Surely, no, it wasn't someone coming down pit lane with smoke coming off them, but...
No, that was Koistra.
Yeah. Now,
just cut away from Koistra as he had a half spin coming through
yes.
Stavelot.
That's half spin for Koistra. We did have the question asked, will he make it home without another stop? He will. The math says he will. He pitted on lap 34, so he should be fine. 16 laps. If he needs the 17th because we go a lap longer, Isaac Curtis saying tyres should have been fitted at the same time. No, they should have. I don't see a reason then why he's pitted 46 seconds then, Jake. Because 26 seconds would cover tyres as Coleman and Butler are continuing their battle. This is on, and it's on for the race lead. Side by side, Coleman gets it back.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's a big old lunge down at Brussels. And Jesse Butler hasn't given up, but Owen Coleman, I think, now has the temperature up together, and he's now starting to drive with aplomb here. So lovely stuff on it, and Owen Coleman here has done very, very well. The only thing I can think of here that has cost Owen Coleman the time in the stop is that he got into his box, didn't have the tyres checked, and only when he was in his box did he elect halfway through his service to tick the 4 tyres to get them done. So that would have delayed then the tyre change out there.
That might be the case for Coleman as Greg Heaney has gone off the road again. I wanted to check it though to see if it was going to be a safety car worthy incident, although the car wasn't moving, but he's well off the road in the grass. Oh, it is separate apparently. So no, it is. Fuel and tyres are set to separate. So that's why it was so long. So he's had to commit to 24 seconds of tyres and 24 seconds of fuel. So that's where the time losses come from.
Either way, still has that lead, has the luxury of fresh tyres, and now can start building with them to get away. Jesse Butler can only hold on the back and hope to try and drive this one back into a strong position of second. McCrowan in the pits with Tonkin and Piper, so this should now be the lead switching back into where it needs to with under half an hour to go.
Yeah, less than half an hour for yourself to win a championship. Daniel McCrowan has work to do if he wants to win it. He's in pit lane. He's going to drop, obviously, below the top 5. What sort of job does he need to do? He arguably needs a safety car. He needs a safety car called to keep himself in the hopes of winning the title. If he doesn't win this race, his teammate Kane Ryder will win it sitting at home, not even on the circuit, not even anywhere near Belgium. And that may be a little bit of a tough thing to have happen, a bit of a tough sting to the end of his championship. But for the team, it'll be great elation and the best way for Kane Ryder to win it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Hamish. Any penalty that is administered by race control is added as a post-race penalty,
Yes,
correct?
It is. Yes, it is.
So, McCrowan's got to do more than that.
He does.
He's got to win this race and win it by 10 seconds.
Yes, he does. That's going to be a tough task. Less than 30 minutes left and he's got to gain 30 seconds to do that. He's got to gain a second a lap.
Or get a safety car and then he doesn't have to gain a second a lap because that will all just gain for him.
Well, that's right. We're having other information told us from the chat. Actually, Angus is telling us they confirm the IMSA rule set in Discord, so tyres and fuel at the same time. I then looked to the thoughts that you had, Jake, of he's not ticked his tyres until he's actually gotten into the box and then it's put him back up on the jacks again. Oh, they made
That's the only thing I can...
They made a mistake on the setup, apparently. Something.
Yeah, that would do it. And it might be even something to the ilk here of you've only put qualifying fuel in and you're doing the tyres and then you realise, oh, I need more fuel in, so you put more fuel in and you can't put it back in until the tyres come down, so...
Now, there's more information out there saying they made a mistake on the session setup. They're not on IMSA rule set, so tyres going after fuel. So, you know what? I'm not quite sure. One thing I know is, Jake, he had a 46-second pit stop compared to a 28-second pit stop. That's what I know now. It's either they do have it as IMSA or they don't have it as IMSA. It's one or the other.
He had a long stop. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters at this point. Richard Mayer, Patrick Reardon battling in for P12 at the moment. Stephen Tonkin has come out in P9 ahead of a fast approaching Tristan McLaren. As they fight for the back end of the top 10, McLaren now wants it around the outside at the final few corners. We get the inside run at the final corner here. Can he get the run off the corner? He can. Tonkin can't get the pace out of the JWM machine. And McLaren will take P9 on the road up 36 positions, equal most with Sean Benici, who's up 36 into P6, but crucially he pitted on lap 31. Benici will need another pit stop to get that car home.
How about that, Hamish? And McLaren passing a McLaren.
Not driving a McLaren either.
I know, that's a penalty in my book. If your name's McLaren and you don't drive McLarens, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you not driving a McLaren? It's blasphemy. In my opinion. Owen Coleman, great race lead at the moment. 1.8 seconds ahead of Jesse Butler. Daniel McCrone to win the championship needs a safety car, as I mentioned, as Benici gets past Luke King. The other name we needed to look at was Gavin Simpson, who has now come through pit lane. He is crucially in P23. Rue Koistra, Daniel Fritz have had an incident. Fritz has had it down at Blanchimont, and I think this one was on his lonesome. But we got to see what also happened to Rue after this one. This was the Fritz incident, another snap moment for him. Oh my God!
Gravel. It does dig in here on iRacing, and you can have an absolutely almighty incident into it. So he has gone through the right, he's come back the other way, and it has dug into the gravel, and it has rolled the car. You can see his broadside car has dug in, and the car has flipped up over the tyre bundle there, has caught the catch fence, and pushed him back over. Now, if that was the real world, he'd be very, very lucky out there. He'd not be anywhere further, and he'd be rolling somewhere along the forest track over towards the pit buildings there. Daniel Fritz, very, very lucky to still have a car technically in this race. But I tell you what, that's what gravel does, and that's why I don't like gravel on the outside of my circuits. It pitches cars into dangerous rolls, and that's Koistra's moment. Puddle at Malmedy.
Yeah, and a couple of... and then going straight back in line of the road. Fritz is now in the pit lane as well. That is Cirque du Soleil. Yes, it's not Circuit du Spa-Francorchamps, it's Cirque du Spa-Francorchamps apparently, but that is, yeah, it's wild. I'm sure that's going to be... Ricky Provenzali right now is licking his lips and rubbing his hands together for the YouTube short that he's just gotten out of that rollover for Daniel Fritz. So Daniel has done something right. It's going to be used for promotional material, I'm sure. Greg Barber, great recovery drive up into P7 at the moment as well. It's a good drive from the One Performance Racing driver out there. He's running very, very well ahead of Tristan McLaren, who continues to battle with Stephen Tonkin. The stage slowdown penalty for Chris Ruddle as well. Luke King looks to get past Sean Benici down here. He'll get that job done. Well, Luke can push on to the next position on track up towards Daniel McCrowan in P4, and there's not much more McCrowan can do right now. He's not gaining the time that he needs on Coleman. Safety car would be his saviour in the final 22 minutes of this race, but it ain't going to happen at this stage.
I do want to note as well here, Hamish, that Daniel Piper, for having that short final stop, has worked his way to third, and he was in that group in and around the top 10 coming into the pit stop. So magical stuff on strategy there from Daniel.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, we mentioned how that long run in that first stint of about 50 minutes, how crucial that was to his race. This has given him an incredible achievement to get up on the podium, as Stephen Tonkin has had a moment. We know he was battling with Tristan McLaren. This is down at No Name on the run up towards Pouon. That's how it's happened to him. So he comes round. Oh, he just gets absolutely clipped by McLaren. A little half spin will find him off the road and continuing on. But that might be a time penalty coming the way of Tristan McLaren because of that contact.
Oh, it's a slam dunk. And the issue there for Tristan McLaren, he's trying to move across to command the circuit. What he hasn't got correct is how close and far along he is compared to Stephen Tonkin, who by the time he gets ahead, then dictates line. So on a straight, when you've got two cars there, the car that is in front dictates where you can go. If you're the car behind, you can't push the car that's in front into a position where you want them to be, because they've got the control in the situation. If you move over and try and pinch and they don't move, that's on you every single day and twice here on a Sunday night.
I wonder if that's a case of if Tristan's running with a single ultra-wide monitor and he hasn't quite seen far enough over to see where Stephen is. Because I would have a feeling if he was running with, say, triple monitors, he would get a much better field of view and be able to see where Stephen is in comparison to his car. It's a very odd moment for him to make that at this point of the race, and often it's something that we don't think about when calling sim races is what sort of equipment are they using, and does that have a part to play in the incidents that they're having on the road? As you can see, Trent Stapleton gets that job done on Jason Adams, now up into P18 on the road. Give the update on the Challenger class. Gavin Simpson P23, Pete Baxter P28, so it's not going the right way for Gavin Simpson right now. He now needs to get P20 on the road to try and win the championship.
And that will really hurt, because he's basically seeing now the fact that Baxter is now scoring points here, and these will count to the championship. So ultimately, very tough position to be in, and we know as well that there is damage for Gavin Simpson. It's been a big old bold effort to try and get himself up there in the Challenger class, but I think he is just going to be a day late and a dollar short to get exactly what he wants. That might be the safety car we've been waiting for.
Brendan Purcell has had a moment up here at Radillion. On board that Porsche, gets it loose, straight in the wall. How much damage has that thing got? And is it moving?
Safety car.
Oh my God. What a time for it to get called. All of a sudden, every piece of information that you thought was going to be correct has now been completely changed. Safety car is out, and Owen Coleman's gap is about to be nothing.
Wow. You do all that hard work, you gain all of that position, and suddenly the game just changed.
It did. Changes completely. And it's so quick that it can change. And we look now to the one driver that wanted a safety car. That was Daniel McCrowan. This is a saving grace for him. All of a sudden that gap is going to be nothing, but he now needs to find 10 seconds on Owen Coleman. By the time we get this field uncontaminated, and by the time we get ourselves going again, we're only going to have 10 minutes left, if not less. I don't think McCrowan can do it, because I don't think he's going to have enough time to build a 10-second lead over Owen Coleman, who has been the drive of the whole field, who has been the top echelon of this whole field, and ultimately has been the fastest, most consistent driver of the whole field as well.
What it needs is Daniel McCrowan to firstly get up to the race lead, and secondly Owen Coleman and everyone else behind to massively scrap against each other to the tune of about 2.5 seconds a lap. Not impossible in the final stages of races. There was one race that I did way back in the day. I was able to hold a group up at a rate of 5 seconds a lap back in the Formula Renault 2.0s from being at the front. But with these drivers and the pace that they've got, I don't think we're going to see that much of a hold-up. I don't think we're going to see that much trouble as far as it goes. I think that it's slightly too late for Daniel McCrowan, but it's as good as he is going to get.
Yeah, I think at most he could get the race win on the road, but I don't think he'll get it on the timesheet. I think even if he gets past, he's not going to gain enough time without them having explosive fireworks display at Radillion again. That's what it would take. And we know how good they were off a single file restart on our last safety car restart a little over an hour ago. So for McCrowan, you know, yes, it can happen. Statistically speaking, is it going to? No, I don't think so, as drivers were not prepared for the safety car to be right there. Sudspeed safety car on track, being driven at the moment by Scott Barton. So he's flashing the lights, making sure they know that he is the leader of this train. They will give the waiver rounds momentarily to let cars through and uncontaminate the field, get everyone back onto, at the very least, one lap away from a lead lap. And what this does is it now opens up the door to say that more than likely Kane Ryder is going to be the champion. What it also does is it bridges the gap between Gavin Simpson and Peter Baxter. Baxter's P26, Simpson's P22. What more can Simpson do here to try and win this? Because he's going to have Baxter not too far behind him, and he needs to beat him by probably over 10 positions here to win this title.
He needs Baxter in trouble. It is as simple as that. he needs Baxter to run into someone else, get caught in an incident, and drop down the order. With the field bunched back together again, that is a lot more likely than what we have seen in this race to this point. So I wouldn't count that championship out. But basically, what Gavin Simpson's probably looking for more than anything here to go and get things, 20th place is great. He really needs Peter Baxter outside of the top 30.
He does.
That's his end goal. He's got to be 31st or lower so that he won't score points.
Well, interesting strategy here for Peter. He's coming into pit lane knowing he has a 40-second gap back to Rafael Custodio, and I think Peter's come in for a set of tyres. He's going to have a run at this because the rest of the field is up and amongst the main train. He's going to lose one spot, and he's going to have fresh rubber on this car. I think this is brilliant strategy.
Which is both, it's both a boon and a curse because there's one issue that he's got. He's going to go out on circuit, and those tyres are not going to get warm. They're going to get cold because we're under safety car.
That's true. He is probably going to have to run around with his foot on the brake just to try and warm them up as he tries to catch the train. That's the only scenario I can see where he gets enough temp.
And then you've got to worry about oil pressure if you do that.
No, that's right. That's the other problem you've got to face. So the balance of doing that and the balance of trying to push that is he now has to drive as cleanly as possible for a couple of laps to get it up to pace as Scott Rankin comes into pit lane. Matt Webber, I believe, incident as well. I'm not sure what incident it had, but that's okay. Lap traffic will filter their way past. We'll get ourselves going again. At this rate, I think we're going to have less than 10 minutes to go, Jake, by the time we go green, because by the time they come around for 2 more laps, it's going to be roughly the 1 hour and 52 minute mark. So this means everyone can make it on fuel. So those that did pit early are going to make it, except for those that maybe pitted on lap 30. Anyone else, though, after that, they should make it home from here. This has opened the door to what could be an all-time finish of a race where the whole field separated quite significantly to now bring them all back together again and make it a less than 10-minute sprint race to the very end to finish out the season. After what was a chaotic start, what could be a chaotic end, it almost feels apropos to do it at Spa.
Well, I turn around and look at this. We got a 2-hour race, right? And we're turning it into a 5-lap sprint.
It's amazing how much that can, or how easily that can happen, isn't it? You race for an hour and 50 minutes. All of a sudden, the last hour and 50 minutes cannot mean very much because you've only got 10 minutes of driving to do at the very end.
That's motor racing, and that's why we love motor racing, because it is very unpredictable out there. So now would be an amazing time to talk winners and losers out here. Luke King and Sean Benici, big winners. Tristan McLaren, big winner out there over this one. McCrow and the way he's fought back, big winner. Piper, a big winner. Looking down the field at some big losers in this field. Okay, Koischer's now down 7. Kurt Chapman down 12. I'd say he's lost out. Matt Schmidtke from 10th to 29th. Big loser in the field. There are some drivers who have not had the day that they would have wanted today.
No, that's right. And we can see on the, not pit stop time, thank you. We want pit time. We can see on the tower who took tyres, who didn't. Owen Coleman in and amongst the top 10 is one of only 2 drivers who did. The other was Andrew Neil, but he's been struggling with poor grip on board that McLaren. There are others outside the top 10 who did take tyres, but majority of the 10 only took fuel. So Coleman's on the best tyres right now in that top 5. Because of that, it's his race to lose at this point, Jake. He's got the freshest tyres. He's going to have the best grip out of anyone. I don't think they're going to have anything for him in terms of grip advantage, in terms of pace. This is Owen Coleman's to lose. He's not going to win the championship ultimately, but he'll get points on the board. He'll put himself in a favourable position at championship end, and he'll look to next season and he'll think, how can I go on to win it when we're racing once again?
Safety car has just called to say it is in this lap, and because of that, that's probably going to leave us with about 9 minutes left on the clock to go and have a race. And the lap times around here that we've been seeing, 2:17s, 2:18s. It's going to be close, to whether we will get 4 laps to go here, Hamish, or 5 laps to go, and it is all dependent on when they cross the line and when they get their restart, because we have to remember as well, restart line here today for the series is not at the Grand Prix pit, it's at the endurance start line.
That's right, and it's going to extend that slightly. The finish line is the Grand Prix finish line, so they don't have to go quite as far to finish their final lap. But how do they measure it then? How do they measure when the white flag comes out? Do you measure it where you're 2 minutes and 16 seconds away from the Grand Prix finish line? Or is it from when you start the lap at the endurance start finish line? That's a key factor as well. And you know, that little under, you know, I think it's a little under 700 meters, maybe 600 meters between the start finish lines. That's going to be the difference maker of, do you do one more lap or do you not do one more lap? They've got fuel to do it for sure, but are you really going to want to do an extra lap of this race when you're about to have a sprint to the end and you're trying to defend a race lead?
Well, we tick ourselves under 9 minutes now, so I think we're very firmly into the 4 laps to go range, so I think there's a lot less worry and concern about how that sets. Owen Coleman, Jesse Butler, Daniel Piper, Daniel McCrowan and Luke King, your top 5. Safety car is confirmed to be in pit lane, so officially now it is whenever the control is there for the green flag. Owen Coleman can only wait for now his final chance to break away, and now would be the worst time to have that worrying moment of, did I put too much of right foot down to floor to create the wheel spin?
So I wonder now if he goes to the line again or if he goes off the exit of La Source. When does he restart this race? Smart money maybe says that he goes at the start-finish line to stop the possible run that could come from Jesse Butler in behind him. But do you then try and trick him and you go slightly earlier? That is going to be the testing marker for Owen Coleman in the restart of this race. It is a little under 8 minutes to go, 4 laps left. It will get slightly overtime. When does he go green? It looks like he's going to do it to the line once again. That's what it appears to be for me. Only time will tell. Owen Coleman. Green flag, does it at the line. Good as you could want it. Exactly the same place he did it last time. He gets underway. Butler's gone right there with him, up over Radillion. You can see Piper on his heels now as well. Slow down coming the way of Greg Barber inside of the top 10. And top 3 battling hard for these podium positions. Piper, though, looking for an outside run on Butler as he looks to cover the inside into the chicane. He's not quite close enough to make the move as the top 3 come through, but there's been a big off-track further back. Someone has traversed the gravel as there's contact with Stephen Tonkin and Richard Mayer. All hell's breaking loose as Roy Koistra gets caught up in it as well off the road. Big contact at the top of the hill. Multiple cars have been dropped down the order now. Who has that caught out? Oh, it's messy. It's so messy. As Luke King,
hugely messy. Look at it. Look at it. There's just everybody going off, and there's one that's going through. Everyone's realised, right, it's final orders at the OK Corral. Let's get in. Luke King finding himself out with a spin. Everybody realising we're in free-for-all mode. Coleman leads, Butler second, Piper third, McCrowan fourth, and for everywhere else, well, it's carnage.
It is. Greg Barber's gone off further round as well. Kurt Chapman now off the road too, off of Pouon. Not what he wanted. Martin Lofthouse is dropping positions as well. It is absolute chaos off the safety car restart. Owen Coleman in the race lead. Oh, Rafael Custodio's now also had a moment too. He's gone off. More and more carnage to come, I'm sure. And it's like they had pent-up aggression from the long green flag run that we had between safety cars. Owen Coleman leads us once again. It'll be 3 laps to go. Gavin Simpson is trying to claw his way forward here, Jake. He needs more spots. The problem is Pete Baxter's P18. Gavin's going to need a top 5 to win the championship. It looks to be out of reach.
Not yet. He needs Baxter to get involved with Barber and the likes of King and Foster and Adams. There's a spinner, and it is Sean Benici who's going to drop out of the top 10 as he looks to rejoin. Another one for both of them to go and clear. So very tough, the end of this race. But one thing is very certain at the end of this race. Can you just pick up anything you can? Everyone's just turned the brain off and gone, right, you know, we just go out there, we drive. But the front four haven't lost any ground compared to everyone else. They're all very even as defensive lines being taken here. And this is where McCrowan has got to try and jump himself up here, find a way to sneak the podium.
The one thing McCrowan could maybe hope for, as Pete Baxter has a slowdown penalty, by the way, so that will drop him down. The one thing McCrowan could hope for is the three in front of him tangle. They drop back by 10 seconds. Everyone else gets involved in a tangle, and all of a sudden he's 10 seconds ahead and he's winning the championship. That's what he needs. That is what McCrowan needs. He needs drama in the three in front of him. He needs drama in the cars behind him. And he's only got 4 minutes to have it happen. As Stefan Mellis, the hometown hero, has had a moment further back. It's simply an off track for him. He continues on. Vinny Nuento's back to pit lane as well. It is big pressure for the championship. Can Kane Ryder win it by sitting at home and doing nothing? Can McCrowan get the lucky end of the stick and win the championship by doing everything he possibly had to tonight to win the title? And then you look at the challenger class. Can Pete Baxter hold it together for the final 3.5 minutes to win this season?
Well, awesome stuff we are getting ourselves into, and this is the group: Baxter, Barber, King, all there, and this is where the Porsche starts to tell in a straight line. Foster and Adams almost side by side as they work themselves up now towards Blanchimont corner here. The fast, fearsome left-hander strikes fear into the hearts of all drivers when you hear Blanchimont mentioned. The very quake of your boots of that name. On the brakes they go, pack of 6 that there is. If Baxter's clever, he just sits on the back of it because he knows that Gavin Simpson cannot catch up to Benjamin Johnson with this little time remaining.
He cannot catch him, and Pete will also know the more positions he gains, the better it gets for him and the more pressure it applies to Gavin Simpson ahead of him as well. Matt Webber's had a moment on a lap down, and that is down at the final corner. That car has been backed
Slow
into
down
the
for
wall.
Piper.
Oh no, that's not good for Piper in the podium. This was Webber's moment down at the final corner. He allowed, I believe that there was the Mercedes of, I can't find him, that's helpful anyway. Chris Ruddle, I think it was. But that was the moment for him. But yeah, Daniel Piper now off the podium. McCrowan on the back of Jesse Butler, but ultimately he is running out of time as McCrowan.
And that gap is extending out now over a second to Owen Coleman, so I think he can get to second. And after all of that, to have started in second, to get to second, he'll still have those 10 seconds though, which we'll keep a close eye on, because at the moment, if he is to finish where he is, he'd actually drop to 11th in this race with it goes. Penalty for Ruddle.
Chris Ruddle will get a penalty. It's not going to affect the championship a whole heap, but yeah, not a late one that he would have wanted, of course, with 90 seconds on the clock. Owen Coleman is going to set us off for overtime. Martin Lipsky saying single file safety car. Well, we already had a safety car and we've done single file restarts. That's what we've been doing the whole race for the series. So it's the safest way to get them restarted off the safety car, especially around here, knowing how bad their double file start was at the race start. 60 seconds on the clock here.
King.
Jake, as Luke King gets a moment further back. Has he caught that gravel, or has there been contact?
No, he's run up the back of Gavin Simpson, and that has taken all of the downforce off the front of the car, and it's pitched him into a spin.
Not the moment that he would have wanted to have to end out his season for Luke King, as Greg Barber has a moment at the final quarter. That's going to allow Pete Baxter past him. 1 lap to go, white flag. Final lap of this race. Final lap of the season. For Pete Baxter, he sits in a championship winning position. For Kane Ryder, sitting on the couch at home, he sits in a championship position right now. Owen Coleman, though, has got to traverse the next 5 odd kilometres before he's a race winner here at Spa.
Look at McCrowan for second, trying to go around the outside in the final lap. He's gone in too deep here. Jesse Butler is going to hold this place up for the moment. He knows he's going to get it on track. He doesn't have to fight this hard. It's allowing back Daniel Piper for effective net podium as they go. Beardo! There's contact. Butler gets dumped out of this one from the podium. McCrowan with the contact once again. He'll have even more points. Andrew Neil is going to get a podium back. It looked for all money that was gone.
I mean, after the moments that Andrew Neil has had, the fact that that car is now back up on the podium is phenomenal for him. What a drive to keep that car in it and keep it nice and tidy. McCrowan did everything he could to try and get his Corvette into P2. It wouldn't have done very much for him. He was always going to finish off the podium with those two right behind him. Owen Coleman, though, what a drive here this evening. Has led the majority of this race. Most laps led for him tonight. Got the pole position as well. This has been an incredible performance in the final round of the season. Unfortunately for him, not good enough to win the championship here in the Premier Endurance League GT3 Limited Series, brought to you by Dash Offroad. But by God, is this going to give him a momentum and a confidence boost into the next season. Through the final 2 corners he'll go after a phenomenal drive. Owen Coleman wins it here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps as Daniel Piper will come home in an incredible P2. Andrew Neil, what a comeback to P3 as Dale Atkins will come home in the race lead for the Challenger class. Pete Baxter, Gavin Simpson, they're going back and forth for P2 in class, but it doesn't matter. Peter Baxter is the Challenger class champion.
Sometimes you just have to drive to the level that you need to. That call for tyres at the end of the race made a huge amount of difference for him. And for Daniel McCrowan, he knows that he left himself too much to do. Coleman burns it down with his winning moment out there in this race. He knows how big a victory is at the finale, but what it does mean is that Kane Ryder has won the championship here in the Premier Endurance League Limited Series by being sat on the Chesterfield.
I mean, what a way to win it. What a way for him to win it. He might have thought when he was injured that it was all over and gone away, but he won it from the best seat in the house. Watching the broadcast, in my opinion, is the best seat in the house, to be honest with you, Jake. You can sit back, enjoy the show, and have a nice time as you watch it all. The race results for you of the Challenger class here this evening be as follows. Dale Atkins will win ahead of Gavin Simpson and Peter Baxter. Brent Tucker, fastest lap of the race for that classification. It was Mark Foster, Brent Tucker, Stefan Mellis, the top 6 in the Challenger class, to Ben Brook, Chris Ruddle, Greg Heaney, Glenn Crellin, Brendan Purcell, Daniel Fritz, Ben Wilkes, the top 13 out there for that classification. To the elite class here this evening, it was Owen Coleman winning ahead of Daniel Piper, Andrew Neil on the podium, Tristan McLaren, most positions gained up 37. Owen Coleman led the most laps of 44. McCrowan with the fastest lap of the race as well. Coleman, Piper, Neil the top 3. Tonkin for Hoffich to Butler, Reardon, McLaren, McCrowan, Johnson the top 10. Kapotza, Barber, Hallinan, Schmidtke, Adams, Koistra, Hodges, Benici, Stapleton and Mayer made up the top 20. Behind them it was Lofthouse, Custodio, Chapman, King, Webber, Wood, Nguyen, to Reynolds, Rankin, McClement in the top 30, and further down the order Provenzali, Bell and Trott as well. A big thank you to Jake Speary, who joined me here this evening as well. He's had to move off as well, so big thank you to him, to Jake. We'll get some post-race interviews happening in just a moment's time as well. For the overall results for you, we'll give you the top 10. It was Owen Coleman to Daniel Piper, Andrew Neil to Stephen Tonkin, Jack Flahoffich to Jesse Butler, Patrick Reardon, Tristan McLaren, Daniel McCrowan, Benjamin Johnson was the top 10 in the end of this race as well. We'll get some B-roll happening for you here at the end of this race. And what a race it was. We need to find our race winners and our champions to come and have a chat to us. So if Mr. Ryder, if you're still watching, come and have a chat to us. You are the champion of your class. What we will do is we're going to illegally steal Mr. Baxter into here to come and have a very quick chat to us. Mr. Baxter, welcome in. Hello, sir.
Oh, hello, Hamish. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Because you are now the Challenger Class champion for this season.
Well, I'll tell you what. That was a race of emotions
I'm sure it was.
because despite, and I think I said this to you before the start of the race, all I needed to do was race well and stay out of trouble. But trouble found me,
Sometimes it
and
does.
trouble put me back, and it was just. It took Rob quite a lot of effort to calm me down. So massive thanks to my brother Rob for keeping my head on straight. A late pit call for tyres there. I think I got a little bit lucky in that last lap with a few extra spots, but look, I got to hand it to Gavin. He certainly made me work for it the whole way, and yeah, I'll tell you what, if this says anything, it really says. Yeah, anybody in the amateur championship or the challenger championship here in PEL, you can have some crappy races, but if you've got a little bit of pace, you can still sort of come out on top. And yeah, I guess you don't have to win everything to take the championship. But I guess the downside is they won't let me race in challenger anymore.
No, they won't. You're going to have to face Mr. Rankin in that elite class next season. What a week, though, for you. I mean, top 10 in Vets on Thursday night at Bathurst, and now the Challenger Class Championship tonight in Premier Endurance League. I mean, could the week have gotten any better for you?
It could have been a lot smoother tonight. I tell you what,
that'd be nicer.
I drove most of those 2 hours quite frustrated and angry, and I was fuming. Cars spinning in front of me and just causing me to pit and things like that. I'm like, yeah, it didn't matter what I did. So so I could have got a lot smoother. But look, everybody in this league has been absolutely fantastic. All the competitors, Gavin, Fozzie, Ben Wilkes. We fought pretty hard at Bathurst. Brendan Purcell, we fought pretty hard at Road America. Everybody that we've raced with in the Challenger class, they've been really awesome dudes to race with and have good chats with afterwards. So that's kind of something special about this league, and it's really nice to be able to race here. So yeah.
Well, the quick final one for you. What's going to be the bottle of choice now as your celebration for the evening, Pete?
Well, it's 10:16. I've got to go to work in the morning, so probably half a drink of water and off to bed.
Maybe tomorrow night then might be the
nice little Cab Merlot tomorrow night, I think.
So, there we go. Well, Pete, we appreciate your time. A massive congratulations to you on this championship win. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Look, I got to shout out obviously to Rob. I've said he's there, and just to keep me sort of semi-sane through the race tonight. A massive shout out to Francois Bru, my French mate who does our setups. He worked pretty hard yesterday to get me a really, really safe setup, and it was just absolutely spot on. I only needed to do one change, so Francois, absolute legend there for doing that. And as always, my good friend Maddie from RFX Graphics, who puts our paints together. The reality paint always comes up a bit of a dream on track and on the broadcast, and I love the way that it kind of pops. So thanks to those guys and anybody else who's sort of given me a message along the way. Thanks to PEL for having a league and allowing me to race instead of commentate. So it's been a whole lot of fun. Thanks.
We appreciate your time, Pete. Best of luck next season when you move up to the elite class. We look forward to seeing how you go.
Thanks, Hamish. Cheers, mate.
Much. Well, next up, we're going to steal away from their team channel our race winner tonight for the Challenger class. Before we get to our elite class drivers who are waiting so patiently in the green room, it is going to be Mr. Dale Atkins. Dale, welcome in. I've stolen your way from Whiskey Business Racing. You're the race winner tonight for the Challenger class, man. Congratulations. Well done.
Wait. I'm so confused. I was talking to them and I just disappeared.
So what this is called is, it is called Broadcasters' Rights, where I can just drag you away from your channel and bring you straight in here.
Nah, all good.
So I'm so sorry to cut off your conversation with your team, but no, congratulations, man. Race win tonight. Well done. The Challenger class. Talk us through it. How was it for you? I mean, it was chaos for us watching it along, but how was it for you?
Yeah, bit of chaos. No strategy involved. Just didn't take any tires. And we were looking at it before we started. We were like, did they change the server settings to IMSA or did they not? And it probably caught a lot of people out.
Well, it was catching us out to try and figure it out, and the world in which we've realised it wasn't IMSA settings, so they changed the tyres and the fuel at separate times. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They are completely separate. Fuel first and then tires separately.
Okay. All right. So that answered that question for us then that we had. But,
Yep.
I mean, obviously the field spread out quite a fair bit in the midpoint of the race. What was there anything that changed the mindset when that last safety car came out with only 10 minutes to go, and how did that then change your approach to the end of the race going towards the checkered flag?
Just survival really, because I knew it brought the other guy back who was in Challenger behind me. He was a lot closer. That's all that really did, was brought him closer to me. Just survival, and then try not to fight the elite guys as much as possible. Just race my own race.
Well, I mean, race your own race. You got yourself a race win. Looking ahead to next season, are you hoping you can maybe get some similar positions next season and maybe put a challenge in for the championship?
Yeah, I just show up and drive, and whatever happens, and it just happened tonight, which was nice. I wasn't expecting it.
Sometimes it's the way, isn't it? You rock up on
No.
race day and you're a race winner at the end of it. So
Exactly. The track chooses the winner.
yeah, sometimes it does. It's very true. But Dale, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you
go? Just all the WBR boys, and that's really much it. And everyone from the team doing all the broadcasts and race control and everything.
Well, we appreciate your time, Dale. Best of luck next season, and we'll see if you can get yourself another race win next season.
Well, definitely we'll try. Can't guarantee anything, but we'll try.
Very good. Thanks so much, and best of luck.
All good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I think we're going to have to go to our race winner before we go to our overall and elite class champion. We're going to drag in Mr. Owen Coleman, our race winner here tonight. Owen, welcome in. Congratulations. Race win. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for you to win the championship thanks to the factor of drop rounds, but still a dominant performance for you. What a win it was. What sort of pressure were you under when that last safety car came out with 10 minutes to go? Were you feeling the nerves, feeling the pressure, or were you cool, calm, collected, ready to restart?
A little bit of both. I was looking at the tires, and they were getting really cold, so I sort of struggled on the first part of the restart, just trying to get them to warm up, and then after that, I knew I had enough fuel, so I sort of just put the foot down, and I was just like, oh well, let's see what we can do. So, and then I don't know what happened to Jesse, but yeah, he sort of disappeared.
Well, what happened to Jesse was he found Daniel McCrowan in his right side door as he shoved it up the inside at turn 8, just before no. Yeah, that's what happened to him. So they came together. I mean, Jake and I spoke about it in the booth. It was actually a move that was worth nothing because Daniel already had a 10-second penalty to his name, so he would have dropped back anyway. There was no point. He was ultimately trying to chase you down and then get 10 seconds ahead of you to win the championship in the race, but it was going to be too hard for him with such little time left in the race. So I think it became a little bit of desperation hour at that point. But
yeah. Because I saw him pop up on the relative. I'm like, what the hell? He's already fourth? Like,
yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh no, he's got a penalty. So
yeah. I mean, he got up to fourth twice after being at the back of the field, and yeah, it just wasn't enough for him. If he probably didn't have that lose that dropped him back again before the final hour, he probably would have been right on you at the end there. But I don't know if it would have been enough for him still. But I mean, you played a great fuel game. To go 38 laps in that first stint, thanks to the safety car, was incredible. I mean, I was mind blown. I couldn't believe you actually gained 2 laps under the safety car. But ultimately, it was a phenomenal drive. And then the fact you put that together again with another 17-lap run to put yourself in the position, or another 16-lap run to put yourself to critical lap to then get home from there. I mean, that was great as well. But I mean, finally, before we send you off, what do you think you can do better next season to try and win the championship here in the elite class?
Uh, I think just improving my consistency. I thought it was I was sort of kicking myself a bit with my results, but then I sort of went back and had a look at them, and I'm just like, oh, they haven't been like super great, but they've been consistent. So I remember I looked at the standings. I think it was like last week, and I was just like, oh wow, I'm in third. I was just like, okay. So yeah, I think just improving on the consistency and just actually putting in the time to get a bit more practice in. I sort of slipped off a little bit with that sort of things, but no, the setup that I had for this race, it was amazing. It was on rails, so
I mean,
it was so
it
it
looked
was so comfortable to push.
it looks super clean. It's probably the most tidy I've seen a Mustang around here in a long time. So that was yeah, it looked really comfy to drive. Looked like you were just able to be in control of it the whole time. So I mean, a great drive for yourself, obviously, and hopefully this is now good momentum swinging your way going into next season, where you'll hope to try and win this championship. But Owen, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, Sam over at Straight Line Industrial. Cheers for coming on. Like, yeah, the the package that he put together was silly to knock back. So yeah, thanks for them putting forward an awesome car. Like, yeah, and I'm glad that I could actually reward them for something for the new season starts. And also Foz over at Noob World Collectibles. If anybody needs any like Marvel DC collectibles, go hit up Foster. You should be able to sort you out.
Very good, Owen.
And also you guys in the booth, and just everyone that helps put the series together.
Well, thank you so much, Owen, for coming to have a chat to us. Congratulations on the race win. Best of luck next season. We look forward to seeing how you go.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks so much, you too. And finally, here this evening, we haven't got any B-roll of him because he's not on the circuit, so we're going to have to show off his teammate instead. But it is the champion of this season in Kane Ryder. Kane, it's unfortunate we haven't. Have you got a camera set up near your couch so we have B-roll of your couch maybe from where you drove tonight's race from? I mean, you've just won the championship sitting at home. What was the what was the emotions like tonight? What was it like watching along, and what was it like maybe half cheering on Daniel to try and get the race win, knowing he may win the championship, but then also not cheering him on because you didn't want him to win so you can win.
Yeah, I felt a bit guilty after the first corner because I was hoping he'd have an okay race, but not a great race. And then that happened. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to have a shocker now. So, but look, he was coming back through. So he still had a chance, and then he got the 10-second penalty, and then that was like, well, it's going to be pretty hard for him to do it from here. So that was just how it was for Dan. He's had a shocker tonight. So
we know sometimes you learn from those mistakes. Other times you build upon them and make worse mistakes going forward. Do you think he has the ability to learn from this and attack next season with the hopes of winning it for himself?
Look, we always want to win it for ourselves, don't we? So like, look, it was just just bad luck for him, and unfortunately I couldn't race because I've hurt my shoulder. So it was always just going to be a bit of a wait and see what happens.
Well, I'm glad you answered that question because I was going to ask you what the injury was and if it was actually a worthy injury of not driving. But since it is a shoulder, that is definitely worth not driving, of course. But I mean,
yeah, I can't even drive my manual car at the moment. My left arm pretty much just doesn't work. So
that's I know the pain that must be going through right now, but I mean, a championship though, nonetheless, that you've just won at home with a sore shoulder is incredible. I mean, Jake said it himself. You had the best seat to win the championship doing it at home. You know, maybe drinking a beer or drinking something else and enjoying the show. You know, whilst maybe also stressing about if your teammate's going to beat you or not. But what do you think? Do you think there was anything you could have done better this season as a whole for those 4 races that you drove? Was there anything better that you could have done to maybe take that pressure off yourself today from when you were watching at home?
Yeah, look, I probably got it all a bit wrong on the last round. Like I went on a dry setup knowing that it was going to rain, and it was just an absolute pig in the rain when the rain hit. So Dan just drove away from me there. So that was a bit of a a wrong setup for me. But other than that, I think I've drove pretty well this season. Look, maximise Road America, which I was pretty slow at. I ended up third there, thinking I was just hoping for a top 5 there or a top 10 even. So to get third there was great. So it was just about not making too many mistakes and staying at the pointy end.
Now, are you going to have a car change from that Lamborghini going into the Open Series next season, knowing that it's not as favourable on the BOP at the moment? Or are you going to stick with it?
Look, I'll probably change. But look, it all can change as well. So like, I do love the Lambo though. I love the sound of the Lambo. Love driving the Lambo. So if it's any decent, I'll probably stick with it. But more than likely with the BOP, I'll be choosing something else.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you go in the Open Series next season, Kane. Congratulations on your championship victory in the elite class. The floor is yours. To anyone you want to give a shout out to, any teammates, any sponsors, any friends or family may be watching. It's all yours, and congratulations once again.
First of all, just teammates, especially Dan, to help me push each other through the season. All the boys and girls at the team that helped through the season as well, and obviously the PEL for putting on such a professional league, and you guys for doing a great job in the booth.
Well, we appreciate your time joining us here this evening, Kane. Congratulations. Best of luck next season. We look forward to seeing how you go in the Open Series here for Premier Endurance League.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks so much. Unfortunately for Daniel Piper, he's joined the green room, but we don't talk to P2 or P3 finishers. Unfortunately for him, we only speak to the winners, plus then also the champions here in the final round as well. But a massive appreciation to everybody who's joined us here this evening and this season as well for Premier Endurance League. We're looking forward to what next season is going to bring, and you can catch all the action live right here on the Premier Endurance League YouTube channel and over on Infinity Broadcasting as well. So be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, the bell icon too, so you're notified whenever we go racing on both channels. The link to Infinity Broadcasting is in the chat a little bit earlier up the chat order as well. We will send it again so you guys can find the channel and come help support us as well. A massive shout out to everyone involved in the league here. Of course, the admin team as well, bringing us on board as the production team, or the production partners of the league as well. To the league sponsors, of course, Dash Offroad for their title sponsorship of the series as well. To Sudspeed Gloves for their support during the safety car periods. To Sim Racing in Focus podcast, where you can find it is on all podcast outlets such as YouTube for the video podcast, Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. To Kibby Graphics as well, big thank you to them. Thank you as well to Jake Sperry for joining alongside me here this evening in the broadcast booth. It was an absolute pleasure to call it with him once again. We'll be back in more than likely a few months' time for the next round the next season and first round of the Premier Endurance League. We appreciate everybody's time joining us here. Once again, I've been Hamish Rhino with Jake Sperry alongside. And until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.